What's up, listeners? Welcome to Predator vs. Movies. I'm Alex.
I'm Peter.
I made it.
And this is a podcast where we discuss and review the latest movie releases. We're going to start off with a non-spoiler review before diving into a deep discussion of the film. And then we're going to ask the most important question. What's your favorite scary movie?
Oh my god, he did the thing!
I did the thing.
Yeah.
This week, we're going to be reviewing Stab 6. Just kidding, it's Scream 6. I'm making a bunch of Scream jokes. Guys,
aren't there like 8 canonical stab movies as well?
I don't know,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Did they say 8?
In the fifth one, they did. Because Stab 8 was so bad, that's why fifth happened.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Okay.
Wait, guys, hold up. How do we pronounce Screen 6, though?
Screening.
It is.
Oh, sorry. I forgot the
I've-
joke.
Is it
I've
V
adopted-
or E?
I have adopted 6 cream, actually, matter of
Six
fact.
Cream.
So that is objectively not what it is, but I've decided that that's... Because I used to call it Scream 5 cream, and then I realized that even that isn't accurate. That's not how they style it, and it's actually not even called Scream 5. It's just called Scream.
It's just
But,
called Scream.
Yeah, no, it's still 6 cream for me.
Six
I
Cream.
forgot I do call it Screevy, and that is what we're reviewing this week. But guys, we have a comment. We have a comment on our last week Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania podcast on Spotify. Podcast does comments now. They do comments now. They do comments now. And we have a comment, guys. It is from a user named Sunny Law. Okay. And sure, yeah, I don't know about that, but sure. And the comment says, guys, this is really exciting. It says, really good. So I'm just I don't want to I don't know, jump the gun on this, but guys,
Wait.
I think we're starting to make it big here.
Wait, guys.
I do have
Are
news.
they saying the movie is good or the podcast is good?
No. Oh, sorry. Let me
I-
clarify. The question does say, "What did you think about this episode?"
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
That was the
I do-
generic Spotify question.
I have insider insight into the comment, as
That's
I
cool.
was actually the one who wrote it.
Yo, what? Yo, I totally didn't know that.
Yo, what?
Aiden, can I talk to you?
Yeah,
Can I talk to you outside?
go for it. Yeah, for sure.
That's the sound of me walking outside.
Yeah.
Aiden, why didn't you tell me this before?
I
Why
did.
didn't you tell me this
I
before
did.
we started?
We talked about this before we started the podcast. Do you remember? We like scripted
Okay.
this whole bit. Do you remember that? It was like 5
Okay.
minutes ago.
Okay, Aiden, can I talk to you outside?
Okay.
Aiden, we weren't supposed to mention that this was a bit.
Oh shit.
We were gonna play it real. We were gonna pretend like I didn't know this already.
Well, the cat's out of the bag. But yeah, no, Peter, that was the fakest reaction. That was so funny. Peter was like, "Yo, what?"
And we also got a bit of ASMR in there for one of our listeners who's been having trouble sleeping. Shout out to that person. I won't name drop you. You're welcome. I will dox you, however. He lives at...
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Oh, you don't? It's not on Twitter. Anyways, guys, last week the Oscars happened.
Sure did.
The Oscars, they happened. And we have some thoughts.
We sure do.
I think everybody's biggest thing. Let's talk about it. Jamie Lee Curtis won Best Supporting Actress. What the fuck?
Yeah, literally everyone else in that category should have gotten it instead of her.
I was like,
honestly,
I was like,
if
this
it
is
was-
great. This is great content where we're
Yeah.
talking over each other. This is Zoom. I love Zoom.
If it was Angela Bassett, Stephanie Hsu, or Carrie Condon, like I would have gone with any of those. But Jamie Lee Curtis, man.
Yeah.
Yo,
even,
and there's actually a clip on Twitter where Angela Bassett seemed visibly upset when she lost. So
because she knew bullshit when she smelled it. Because man, exactly what you're saying, Aiden. Angela, people were saying Jamie Lee Curtis was getting a career Oscar. Well, what about Angela Bassett's career Oscar? She's not won an Oscar yet. and
Sure,
her career
Bassett.
has been her what?
I'm pretty sure it's Bassett.
Bassett? Well, I don't know. Angela Bassett has not gotten her career Oscar either, and her performance this year was considerably better.
Yeah.
It's
Also, like,
it's
look, like, to be fair to Jamie Lee Curtis, I think she's fine in Everything Everywhere, but like her character straight up, like, there isn't enough there to even consider
no.
it. Like, it's just not a role that you should be considering this category for. Like, in my memory, she's not even in the movie that much. It's crazy that like that Stephanie Shu, who's one of the main characters, wouldn't get recognized for it for the same movie.
It's
Dude, I think the sausage finger hack. Everyone with sausage finger in that movie won an Oscar.
Oh, you might be right.
Daniel or what's his name? Waymond did not have sausage fingers, and he won an Oscar. So points
Well,
disproven.
Michelle Yeoh and Jamie Lee both
I
had
know what you're
sausage
saying,
fingers.
and I'm saying no. Anyways, so that was a big disappointment for most people. But conversely, just prior to that, Ki Hee Kwan won the Oscar, and I was like shouting and like cheering at my TV alone. Like I was
yeah.
so excited.
You
Yeah.
were watching it at the time. You weren't at the
Yeah.
theater yet. Okay.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I was watching most of it live.
I think a lot of the emotional weight of that movie really does rest on him. Like, I think like
Absolutely.
he needs to do what he did there for a lot of that movie to work.
And
yeah,
oh my god, guys, what a great speech he gave. Like, it's just like, I'm just so happy that he is happy, you know?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and like people are talking about Brendan Fraser making a huge comeback, but like Ki Hui Kwan is making a huge comeback as well.
yeah.
Because after his role when he was like a much younger, like more of a kid actor, he sort of transitioned to more being in the background. He was stunt coordinator, assistant director, but this is like the first major role he's gotten in over, I think, 20 or 30 years, which is absolutely insane. But
yeah, his speech was very like, it was very powerful, and I was near tears, and I know a lot of people were like crying watching that because, yeah, it was a great moment for Ki Hee Kwan for sure, and a deserved Oscar win, I think.
absolutely.
Rounding out the Everything Everywhere Oscar wins was also Michelle Yeoh won her first Oscar. I think that was well deserved.
Yeah, sure.
It was really between her and Cate Blanchett, and honestly, she did not need a third Oscar despite giving a fantastic performance. Yes.
Yeah, Cate Blanchett is incredible in it, but like, yeah, I mean, so is Michelle Yeoh. Like, yeah.
And also, Brendan Fraser won an Oscar for The Whale. Good for him, I think.
Yeah.
You know, good performance in a really shitty movie.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
It was kind of like engineered around him getting an Oscar. So I mean, it did its purpose, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have the same take more or less. Like, I legitimately do think that he's probably the best part of that movie. So like, I think that like he elevates like where what there isn't much, and he gives it there's something there. So
yeah. Anyways, there was 2 movies that came out on top this Oscar year, and one of them was more or less deserved, and one of them maybe not so much. So let's talk about the one that was maybe not so much. Yeah. So there's a movie that is a remake of a 1930s classic,
also
which is
79 or something.
Yes, that is also true, and they're all adapted from a book called All Quiet on the Western Front. Now, this is a German book, and this is the first time the movie has been adapted in the German language.
And the 1931 was British, 1970s one was American, I think.
That sounds right. I don't really know for sure, but now All Quiet on the Western Front was released by Netflix, and it won 4 Academy Awards. It won Best Cinematography, Best International Feature, Best Score, and Best Production Design. Now, I think I've expressed on this podcast my hatred for this movie. I haven't read the book, so I can't say if I have a problem with it, but I didn't care for the 30s movie either. I found it kind of boring. But this was just like offensively bad. I found it to be so completely I'm lacking the word, but like
He's trying to think of a synonym for bad, and he's failing.
It's just like
no, like it
it's
just
bad, and I also think that it's just like kind of shitty. I would say, like,
yeah. No, it completely misses the point
yeah,
of the idea that All Quiet on the Western Front is more like the mundaneness of it all, and how like people just kind of die, and it turns this book about like the mundaneness and how the foot soldiers are living completely different lives from the generals who are making the decisions about their lives. And this movie is like, let's make that into like an action war epic where
yeah,
the generals are actively trying to help out the soldiers, and it feels like they didn't even read the book, you know, or like if they did read it, they didn't get it, and then they tried to do all these things. Um, but Aiden, I am interested to hear what you thought about it because you just watched it last night.
I literally did watch it last night. Yeah, so I probably didn't hate it as much as you. I am coming from a place of I personally love the 1931. I think that's an example of you always hear people talk about movies from that long ago, and they're like, it still holds up, and then you watch it, and it's like, no, it most certainly does not hold up. I think this is an example movie that actually holds up very well. Like there are some things that are obviously of the time, but I think it generally works really well. This recent one, I agree with you. I think it can't decide if it's this like gritty, grounded take of war that's showing like the reality, or if it's this hyper sensationalized depiction of war. Like there are multiple times where there are like very choreographed like fight scenes in
Yeah.
this, and like there are struggles where like a character goes like, and then like starts hacking someone and like stuff like
Mhm.
that. And I think every death feels like it's this like epic dramatic moment, and I think that really misses the point, and it lacks the nuance that I think the 1931 has. What I love about the 1931s are the really like tender and quiet moments. I love how you
Yeah.
it pays such close attention to sound design that like it's very selective with how it when it gives you like the bomb noises and gunfire, and when it's very quiet, and it gets to the point where like by the end of it, like the gunfire is there but it's kind of worn you down so you don't even really notice it, like, and it's just there constantly. Also like yeah, just the moments of tenderness and the moments of like the idea that no one really wants to be fighting this war. Like in the newest one, there's the scene where the French come and just start burning everyone alive, and they show that in like very
Yeah.
graphic detail, and it's like an
Yeah.
extended sequence, and it's like really like I don't think you can call yourself a real anti-war movie when you're making it this like romantic. And I know that's a weird word to use, but just that it's like full of passion and tears and cry. Like I like one of my favorite moments from sorry, I know it's a long rant, but one of my favorite moments from the 1931 is literally it's when the main character goes to the French village near the beginning. And
Mhm.
in this one, he doesn't go. He doesn't even go. But in the 1931, he goes to the village and he like spends a night with a woman. I don't remember if they like sleep together or not, whatever. But there's a long scene where they're just talking, and all that is shown on screen is just like the shadow that a plant is casting on a wall, and it's just a very quiet scene of them talking and not really understanding each other because they don't really speak the same language. And it's like stuff like that that made that movie so good for me, and just completely lacking from this new one.
Yeah. I would say that everything you've said kind of adds to my next point, which is it's just so the new one is just so overproduced. Where in the original scenes would play out like you just described, not even showing the action, just showing kind of like a shadow, which is
Yeah.
a really interesting idea. This movie shows everything in its full detail to like the 11th power. And I think honestly that's probably why it won so many awards. It's because it's not the best at like cinematography or best production design. It's the most.
Yeah.
There's just so much of everything. There's so much sound. There's so much like crazy camera movement that is feels completely disingenuous and
Yeah.
unnecessary. The colors are super saturated for some reason, and like even the makeup, like there's a scene where he gets his face covered in mud that's also in the original version,
Yeah.
and this version is like so obviously like makeup,
Yes,
and
I
it's
don't
like
get. Is that
green, and I'm like, what the
when he
fuck is this?
when he's in
What
the
are you
pit with the
doing?
French guy? and
Yeah.
it's like dry despite the fact that he just had his face in the mud, like the wet mud. Like,
Yeah. Anyways,
no, and
like
the other thing
this.
I felt of this movie is that like I feel like it's trying to be like in some parts it's trying to be like Saving Private Ryan, and in other parts it's trying to be like 1917.
It's trying to be
And I
1917.
don't love
Yeah,
either of those movies, but they both do it better. Like
absolutely.
and yeah, but anyway, like best score, that is fucking crazy. It's 3 notes.
It's so bad.
Like, come on, like really?
And Babylon was right there.
Yeah,
Babylon's score is so good. Say what you will about the movie. Justin Hurwitz knows what he's doing. He
yeah,
doesn't use three Hans Zimmer knockoff notes.
yeah,
Like, oh my god. But yeah, so those were completely ridiculous. I also think cinematography should have gone to Tar. And
absolutely.
even if you're not going to give Tar because like, oh no, there's a woman doing bad things, can't support that. Clearly is what the Academy's stance on that movie is. Like Bardo, even I think would it be more deserving.
I 100% agree. I think
Um,
Bardo looks way better. I saw people saying this movie is like beautifully shot, and it's like
no,
it's
it's not.
it's nice, but like it's so strictly adhering to like this idea of like naturalism in cinematography. Like, you know what I mean? Like every single there are scenes where like a lamp goes out and now it's just like kind of like very very dark, because if you go
Mm,
like the naturalism approach of cinematography, you can't, if it's nighttime, you can't have light realistically. Like
yeah,
you can like try to fake moonlight a little bit and have like the little bit of blue, and that's what this movie does, but it's just like, yeah, okay. Like I don't know. I was really not blown away by the cinematography in this. Again, I feel like I've seen everything it's doing in other movies that do it better.
yeah. So that was really annoying. When I was watching it live, I was like every time it got called up, I was getting really exasperated because I was like, this is a shit movie. I don't know what you're talking about. But I mean, the Academy loves war movies.
Yeah.
The other movie that did very well at the Oscars was Everything Everywhere All at Once. It won Best Picture. It won Best Direction. It won Best Editing, Best Original Screenplay, as well as all of the acting awards I've already mentioned. So
Mhm.
let's talk a little bit about that. Are all of these awards deserved? What do you guys think? Oh, let's start with Peter because we
Yeah,
haven't heard
Peter.
from him.
Yeah, Peter. What do you have to say?
I don't have much to say about this, to be honest. Like, let me quickly check what the nominees are for Best Picture.
We can rattle off some of them.
I know Elvis is in there, Aiden. If you
Elvis
want
is
to talk
there.
about that.
Avatar 2 is there. Top Gun Maverick is there.
Triangle
Tar
of Sadness.
Tar is
Yes, Tar. Yep.
nominated.
Women
Yeah,
Talking.
I think out of all of them, um, Everything Everywhere has just I think all of them are like great in their own regards, but like Everything Everywhere sort of has everything. It has the comedy of like Banshees and Triangle. It has the sort of like the grand epicness, you know, the multiverse, etc., from like things like Avatar or Top Gun. But then it also has a really tight knit story, like you know Tar or some of the more you know dramatic drama films.
Mhm.
So I think like yeah, like at least for Best Picture, very very well deserved, and I love the movie, so
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
No, I love the movie too, and like,
Yeah.
while it's not my personal favorite movie of the year, like I'd go with Tar, and then I want After Sun to be nominated. Like I would have given it to After
Yeah, me
Sun
too.
before as well, but like, no, like I'm really glad that a very fun, very well made a movie, clearly with people that are very passionate about what they're doing with a specific vision behind it, and a very like
Mhm.
sincere movie. I'm very glad that that won. Like, because that's not super common that a movie like that wins, and yeah, so I think it's a win. I'm not mad at that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I predicted back in November when we were doing the Fablemans
Yeah.
podcast. Just gonna
Yeah.
brag a little bit. When when Ryan was on, he said that he thought Fablemans was a shoe in to
Yeah.
win. And I would just like to remind everyone that I swore that Everything Everywhere All at Once was gonna
So did
win.
I.
And I still think it's deserved.
Yeah.
I'm on Team Aiden as well, or well, Team Tar with Aiden. That Tar, in a perfect world where they were actively like choosing the best film that was nominated, it would go to Tar. Best film from last year would have gone to After Sun. But hey, it's the Academy; they're not perfect. And I mean, for on that note, this is like the least Academy movie ever, and I'm shocked, pleasantly shocked that it actually did go all the way and did so well with all the awards. And I think it's proof that Hollywood maybe is changing a little bit.
Yeah.
And that, and I think that's a great thing because the movies that were winning Best Picture were usually not the best movie.
Mhm.
And I think also like we're pretty, what's the word? Like, sentimental a lot of the time,
Yeah.
or it
They
felt
would
like
give-
an Oscar movie.
They would give it to like All Quiet on the Western Front as an Oscar movie. Like that's
I would, or Banshees or The Fablemans.
Yeah.
Like there
Or
were
Banshees
some,
good. But yeah, Fableman's a bad.
not to say that they would be bad necessarily, but so I'm glad that we're getting something different for once, and I do think it was a very well crafted movie as well.
Yeah.
And I think this really reminds me of, I don't know why, but it reminds me of the Parasite sweep in 2021 or 2020? I forgot. But
2019 was the year of Parasite.
Yeah.
It would have been the 2020 Oscars, but
yeah. So like, like Parasite, I was hesitant that year to like say Parasite's gonna for sure win everything, but then like everyone know like Parasite's good.
Yeah.
But like I think the similar situation is happening here, where it's like everyone knew Everything Everywhere is like good, but they don't know if it's like Oscar. I don't want to say Oscar level, but like good in a way that appeals to the Oscar.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, pleasantly surprised. I'm very happy it won. So
I would say that Parasite is still probably the best Oscar movie that has won, like maybe ever. I would have to check the list, but probably one of the best pictures.
Ever is like a strong term, man.
It's
Dude,
one of
like,
the
best picture movies.
It's definitely in my memory that of Oscars I've seen. It's probably the best picture.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I really like Parasite. Don't get me wrong, but it's like saying ever is very strong. You know what I mean?
Dude, trust. Like it's not a difficult list to get to the top
Yeah.
of.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna try and pull that up, but I did want to ask while I'm doing that. Okay, here we go. Here's some. This is ranked by Tomato Meter, so obviously not at all a good metric.
Yeah.
But it was the first list that came up. They have Parasite as number one.
Okay.
Just putting that out there. But some of the other ones they have at the top are Casablanca, All About Eve, On the Waterfront, Moonlight, Schindler's List, It Happened One Night, Rebecca. Some of these you're like, what? These are
I haven't
40s
seen
and
most
30s
of these,
movies.
to be honest.
Yeah.
Dude,
I'm
not a big Casablanca guy, to be honest.
I watched it. There were some good moments, I think. All Quiet on the Western Front, 1930. Sunrise, I've never heard of that. Spotlight from 2015, that's interesting. The Hurt Locker, sure. The Godfather, Annie Hall. Anyways, I could keep going. Argo, but yeah,
Argo
I
wasn't bad.
pretty well stand by that. Parasite's probably one of the best. One other thing I want to talk about from the Oscars is that in this Everything Everywhere sweep, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinhardt, the Daniels, won Best Director. What do you boys think about that?
I think it's cool.
Fine.
It's cool that relatively young directors are winning. Like I think that's sick. Like Damien Chazelle won Best Directing at some point too, didn't he?
I don't know.
That's another example of a young director winning. That's nice to see. Like realistically, and I also again, it's I think it's a very well directed movie, so I'm not mad at that at all. I don't think it's the best directing of the nominees, to be honest with you, but I'm not mad at that at all. I'm happy to see it. I've seen a lot of people hating on them on Twitter, and it's just I get they're millennials or whatever, but I don't know, chill out, man.
I did just look it up. So Damien Chazelle did in fact win Best Director.
Whiplash or La La Land?
You're asking me too many questions. I think it's La La Land.
Okay.
And he was the youngest person to win the award at age 32.
Yeah.
Peter, did you have something to say about the thing?
No, I don't think age should even be a consideration. If it's good, it's good. It has nothing to do with age.
Only thing
hard, so it
yeah
takes a long time to get good at, really good at.
Only thing that I would say is that I do think the direction was pretty good, and I mean to get 3 of your performances winning Academy Awards and 4 nominated,
exactly,
that's saying something about the directing. So I'll give him that. I do think I'm not one of the Spielberg purists who thinks that Spielberg should have won the Oscar because he's the best director, but I do think Todd Field was in good contention to win
absolutely
that Oscar, if nothing.
I probably still would have given it to Spielberg, honestly, but Yeah,
That's something I want to know. Actually, has Spielberg won before Best
he's
Director?
definitely
100%. Yeah.
You would think, right? But I mean, I want to be sure. Okay, he won the Academy Award for Best Director for the latter, which would have been Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan. So he's won it twice.
Yeah.
Not surprising. Anyways, those were the Oscars. Pretty good. Like
Yeah.
I don't think it's as bad as it has been in previous years. And
Elvis shutout. Let's go.
oh yes, sorry, you wanted to talk about that? Yeah.
I don't really have anything to say other than just very happy Elvis didn't win anything. Didn't like that movie. Let's go.
Woo. Guys, I have big news. Tom Cruise saw The Flash.
That's great.
What do you think?
Dude, I
Oh my
love the
God.
headline because he called David Zaslav, right? He called the Discovery.
CEO. Yeah.
What is it? Warner Discovery now? Like,
I think it was Discovery Warner because didn't
Oh.
Discovery want to put their name first or something?
right.
I don't know. But he saw The Flash because, yes, he did ask David Zaslav. And he said to Andy Muschietti, I think is his name, the director of The Flash, he said to him, "This is the kind of movie we need now."
Dude, there's no way. I keep hearing things about this movie where it's like, this is one of the greatest superhero movies ever made. Like so many things are coming out about it. There's no way.
Yo, I genuinely though, I have faith for this movie. Like the trailers that I've seen are very good.
I think it'll be good.
You know, I'm starting to think it's really just like a huge PR stunt.
Yeah.
Because they know it's an uphill battle with the Ezra Miller shit, that they've spent all of their marketing budget for like 2 years. Because remember, they ran out of money at the end of the year and then just didn't promote Shazam 2
That's so funny.
all.
Yeah,
They
they did not. Yeah.
all of their marketing budget for this one movie. They're paying off Tom Cruise to say good things about The Flash. And like post Top Gun, like I think that's genius because what he said about The Flash is what people were saying about Top Gun.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I think this is all made up. I'm not sure that it won't be good, but like, I saw the trailer same as everybody else, and I don't think that was very good. I think it's
I
dubious.
think that's a mega cap. That is it as an omega level cap.
I don't think the Flash trailer looks good.
I think it brings together some of the best of the DC universe. So I have faith.
It's this. I think the problem is there's all this nostalgia bait in that movie that I'm immune to. I haven't seen the Michael Keaton Batman movies.
I think it's just something cool to have like an old actor coming back to his role and then kicking ass.
They've been doing that a lot in the past 5 years, and I'm probably
not
even before
not
that
in
with
DC,
legacy
though.
sequels. I don't give a shit about if it's in DC or not. I'm talking about legacy sequels in general.
Like I think it's really cool.
Again,
I haven't even seen Man of Steel.
Well,
actually,
just wait, we're gonna get into legacy sequels.
But I thought like bringing back Zod is cool. You know, having like a Supergirl subplot, and then I still have no idea who the villain of this movie is. Like the trailers have shown me enough to get me excited, but haven't shown me too much to sort of give away a lot of the plot.
I think the villain is the soul of man.
What the
fuck? Actually, that's Shazam 3. I wouldn't be surprised if Shazam 3 was like the soul of man.
God, I don't think Shazam 3 is gonna happen. Like Shazam,
like definitely not.
Yeah.
After everything that's been happening in that movie, like it's had
all at once,
yeah, it's had a terrible opening weekend.
Yeah.
Because A, no marketing. B, it doesn't look very enticing. Let's be real.
I just love how they keep putting out trailers, and one is like and they keep getting longer. And then there was like one trailer I saw when I was watching a movie. I think it might be Creed. I was like, okay, this is a decent trailer. They were using I think Drake's song "Starting from the Bottom, Now We're Here," and then Drake, like literally the same lyric appeared 4 times during that trailer. I was like, please just cut it. Like if you cut it at the 2-minute mark, it will be a good trailer. But then they keep showing you more stuff. It's like, guys, please.
My favorite moment from the trailer is the millennial moment when he's like, I just threw a truck at
a dragon. I love my life.
Yeah. So that thing, like,
Apparently that was filmed for the trailer and it was never going to be in the movie, which is like insane to me. Why would you make such a shitty line for the trailer? Oh god.
Dude,
Anyways,
it's like sorry, I just have one more comment on this. Remember when Game of Thrones season 8 was coming out and then the actors were getting interviewed about what they think of season 8? And
Oh,
I just
yeah.
remember Amelia Clark having just like, so what do you think about season 8? She's just like laugh. She's just like
Yeah.
like give a very awkward laugh.
she's just like, yep.
And
Yep.
so one of the actors in this
Rachel
movie is
Zegler?
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
her Twitter reactions are the best. Oh my god! Like when a Shazam update account retweeted a clip of her character and Freddy talking, or I think it was actually the other kid, the younger kid who has leg problems, and then
Sure.
and she retweeted that saying she talks now. It's like the first time you're seeing her character and she's talking, and it's from a retweet of a news account. Like, come on, guys.
I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what you're talking about, but the clip that the
Yeah.
clip that I saw of Rachel Zegler was her getting interviewed on the red carpet,
Yeah.
and they asked, "Why did you do Shazam 2?" And she said, "I needed a job." And that's the most relatable shit. Like, yeah, that's why they do these superhero movies. A lot of these people. Anyways, we got into a bit of a Shazam tangent there.
Yeah.
We have one more bit of news before we head into the trailer park, guys. Chris Pratt could do the voice the whole time.
Yeah.
There's a it must have been some talk show where he does a Mario impression and it's completely accurate and it sounds good-ish. I didn't like really analyze it. It was just like, oh, that's it. You did it. You could do this the whole time.
No, I just felt like they didn't want to do the accent thing because no one was doing the accent. I guess no character needed to do the accent, but
I honestly think no one would be like, Mario's the only one with an Italian accent here. Like, no one would care.
I think they would have thought it would be like annoying. And it's like, guys, I played the whole game like that. Like, it's not annoying. I think just leave it as is. If it ain't broke, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, if it ain't broke, put Chris Pratt in it, apparently. Guys, there's some trailers from this week. Yeah, thanks. So let's start off with the one they showed at the Academy Awards, The Little Mermaid.
Sure did.
It doesn't look good.
Looks bad.
Like the Jungle Book, I'm calling back to, oh man, that was 7 years ago now.
Yeah.
The Jungle Book, like, at least then there was something there, I think, and the animals did not look super weird, but like fish, they just look like regular fish. Or like Sebastian is just like a crab, and this hyper realism shit needs to stop.
Yeah,
I agree.
We need to stop going for this because it doesn't look good.
I also I don't understand what's happening. Like, these are like adept people working on this movie. Oh no, I'm thinking of the Tinkerbell one. Sorry, but what, like,
you can bring that into the conversation.
It's the same look where it's like, this looks bad, it looks muddy. It's like, again, it's like this devotion to naturalistic lighting where it's like, then what happens when you have a night scene and there's no light and it just
can't fucking see anything and there's no contrast.
Right, and it's just like this. I see the same thing in Little Mermaid, where it's like, well, there wouldn't be light under the water, so we can't do anything. It's just going to look muddy and bad. And it's like, that's such a stupid approach to this movie. Like,
exactly.
Yo, I agree. Like, I think like the whole one of the appeal of these cartoons is just like they transport you into this fantastical world, but now they're recreating it in the sense that we want to make it live action. We want to make them real. And that doesn't work.
Yeah,
it's just like literally at the opening scene, I thought it was the Pirates of the Caribbean. You know?
Oh, should we watch those? Those are good movies.
really fun.
It's just we're getting into an endless cycle of regurgitating IP, and it's very depressing. But there are some things that were not that we saw this week. Trailers for, that is. That was a terrible sentence.
Nice segue, Alex. You're getting better.
Let's go to I think the only one of these things that is a movie. There's a little movie coming out. I've never heard of this. It's called Joyride.
Never heard of it either. Yeah.
I'm gonna try and look up some information about it. But it stars among others, Stephanie Shu from Everything Everywhere, Ashley Park, Sherry Cola, and Sabrina Wu.
One of
And
them is
it's
from
like,
Emily in Paris, but I don't know what her name is.
oh, I didn't watch that.
I've seen a
Um,
lot of this show.
so Joyride is an American comedy film, and it's like one of the characters was trying to find her birth parent, and they're like American born Chinese people, and they're going to China for I think the first time. I think they said it was like their first time, and just kind of like is the word diaspora of like going to like where
Diaspora.
you're from, but
Diaspora is the community outside of like the main, like the Chinese diaspora in America is like the Chinese community in America.
okay, so like that,
Yeah.
yeah. And it looks really fun. It's like an R-rated comedy. It looks great. What'd you guys think?
I
This is
agree.
very funny. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think okay, great. I love your like 2-word
Like
responses.
I honestly I don't have much to say about this. I just thought it was funny. I'll probably watch it when it comes out. You know.
yeah, looks
Um,
chaotic, right?
Yeah.
Chaotic
Not
comedy.
So, like,
directed by
reminds me of-
Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah. Oh my god. I was gonna bring that up.
We got some word association going on here.
Yeah.
Stephanie Shu looks great. I think she's gonna be the draw for me because she's the only actor that I know in that. But
Ashley
there's
Park
some funny stuff in that
from
trailer.
Emily in Paris, and I know her. So yeah,
Cool. Yeah, I didn't watch Emily in Paris, and I'm glad I haven't.
it's not. A
We also got some trailers for some other things. There's a show called Swarm, created by Donald Glover and another person, and I don't want to leave him out. It's funny because I'm getting like really kind of like there's like a connection between this and The Idol, the
Oh.
Weekend show, because
Mhm.
it's like singers making shows
yeah,
and
yeah.
like
But Don Glover, like,
Donald Glover's more of
Donald
an
Glover's
actor,
been
yeah.
a TV guy for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So it's him, Donald Glover and Janine Neighbors.
right.
Also, I just want to say that one of the episodes, I'm gonna get the for sure. Oh, it doesn't say. I thought. Oh no, it's right. Okay, so the 5th episode of this is not really important. The 5th episode of Swarm is written by Malia Obama.
Oh really?
Yes, one of Obama's kids wrote
Oh
one of
my
the
god,
episodes of Swarm.
that's kind of cool actually.
So, anyways, that looks really funny. It's going on Prime, and it's about like being obsessed with a pop star, and I think the pop star is played by Billie Eilish. What did you guys think of this trailer?
I think it's really cool. I think it looks like a Donald Glover thing. Like I looked it up to see if there was like a same cinematographer as Atlanta, because I don't know if you've seen Atlanta, but like a lot
Yeah,
of
I've
the
seen
style
3
kind of
seasons.
looks Atlanta like, which is good. I think
Mhm.
Atlanta looks great. Yeah, it looks really interesting. I'm excited to see it. I think Donald Glover kind of like has been playing like with these ideas of like internet and obsession for a long time. Like
Yeah.
even back to like 2013 or whatever, when like Because the Internet came out. Yeah, so I think like this is clearly something he's very interested in, so I'm excited about it.
Oh shit! It released yesterday.
Oh,
Because I was seeing it all on Twitter, and I was like, "Is this out now?" It seemed like it was kind of like unclear if it was out or because it was releasing clips and trailers, despite apparently releasing on Friday. So and it's all out. It did a bulk release, so that's interesting, and I will have to start watching that. There was also a trailer for a show called Beef. Stars.
Oh, that's a
Ali-
show too.
I think so.
Okay.
It stars Ali Wong and Stephen Yuen. Yes, it's a series. Is it their first A24's first TV series?
It might be, yeah. I don't think they've done one before.
But it is in fact created by A24, and it's about like road rage. So, did you guys watch this trailer?
I sure did. Yeah, I love Stevie
Yeah.
guy. Love Steve guy. I've liked him a lot in everything he's done. Going as far back to The Walking Dead. I love Minari. So like, yeah, I'm kind of on board whenever I see him in anything. But yeah, it looks good. It looks fun.
It looks fun indeed. Yeah. I don't know where it's releasing. Oh, it's Netflix. So that's a Netflix show, right? I thought so. But also a little tidbit that I heard. Apparently, Stephen Yuen decided to join Thunderbolts because the director of Thunderbolts, the Marvel project that is.
Yeah.
His name is Jake Schreier. Directed several of the episodes of Beef, and so that's why he joined that project.
Oh,
wow.
I already forgot his name. Jake Schreier also did Paper Towns in 2015, a movie that I think, if memory serves correctly, was very bad. But I could not tell you. Anyways, we're almost done. We had one more trailer. Peter, did you watch the trailer for Mrs. Davis?
No, I started it,
No.
but then we started. So.
Oh, whoops. Did you watch it, Aiden?
I sure did not.
Okay. Well, anyways, it's David Lindelof who did The Watchmen.
Is this supposed to be a comedy?
Thing.
It looks like a comedy.
Yeah, and it's basically a nun is looking for the Holy Grail and is like fighting an AI, and she joins like a ragtag group of like rebellious rebels who are going against the AI. So it seems fun. I don't. Maybe it'll be good. I don't know. Anyways, guys, we watched a movie
on Peacock, man.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Peacock. We don't support Peacock in this podcast household. Anyways, guys, we're 40 minutes into the episode. We watched a movie. It was the Oscars. We had to talk about it. It's fine. We watched a movie called Screevy or Six Cream. It was directed by Matt Bettinelli Olpin and Tyler Gillette. Written by James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick. It stars Melissa Barrera, Jasmine Savoy Brown, Jack Champion, Mason Gooding, Liana Liberato, I don't know, Dermot Mulroney, Devin Nakota, Jenna Ortega. You can keep saying things at me. I'm not listening. Tony Revolori, Josh Segarra, Hayden Panettiere, and Courtney Cox. Whew. The DP is Brett Jukiewicz. Has a runtime of 2 hours and 2 minutes, budget of 33 to 35 million, and a box office of 88.4 million. Pretty good guess.
So far. It's still in
so
theater.
far. Yes, it only just released in theaters last weekend, so it's it's and counting. Guys, we play a game called Predacritic. Basically, there's a website called Metacritic where critics' scores of movies are tabulated and averaged out of 100. If it's 60 or above, it's green. If it's 80 or above, it's must see. If it's we think between 60 and 45, it's yellow, and if it's below that, it's red.
Alex, you're so professional.
We are gonna guess. That has never been attributed to me. We're gonna guess what the score of this movie is, and Aiden is going first because I'm prepared.
Oh, okay.
Did you roll the names beforehand?
I rolled it right just then as I was talking.
Okay.
So I'm on it, guys.
Sucks that I'm going first. Okay. Some things to consider. I really like this movie. I think it's a lot of fun, and I think people generally will like it. But I just think that most critic scores are not going to be blown away. I think if I'm trying to get into the mind of the critic,
yo, just don't take my score, man. Just don't take my score. If I'm trying to get into the
mind of the critic, I would probably go lower than what I'm thinking here, just because I feel like. I don't know. I feel like this is the kind of movie they kind of pick apart. It's like the sixth movie in a franchise, too. Okay, I'm going to go 64.
What?
I know 64.
Interesting. Okay,
yeah.
Interesting.
Peter's going next. I wouldn't put it like that, but I think that's where Peter's going to go.
85.
Peter, that's your guess?
We are so far away from each other.
85.
Guys, I can clutch this so easily.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with an honest guess though. I'm not gonna play the game. I'm gonna go with my gut here.
Okay.
I think that Scream is. This is gonna be really easy. I think Screevy is higher than 64, but significantly lower than 85. I'm gonna go with like a 70 to keep it safe.
Okay.
Because I think the best Marvel movies are within the 70
Dude,
range.
And you're saying you're not
and
playing
I think
the
this
game.
is. I would honestly say that this movie is like in the same regard of the better Marvel movies, and I think 60s is kind of like it could be in the high 60s as well. I think that's perfectly plausible. Anyways, let's figure this out once and for all. This feels like a very
This is like the most different
Scooby-Doo
ever had.
Oh, what the fuck? Oh, I disagree so hard.
What is it?
Guys, I, that's disappointing. Aiden won.
Let's
It
go
is,
back on
it
top.
is, it got a 61.
What the fuck?
Oh,
That
really?
is so low.
Yeah, we have words for the people of Metacritic.
That's
Um,
crazy.
That is incredible.
but as I think we all know how we feel about that. But now that we've done this, we do a thing, not
do.
spoiler reactions. And Aiden is going first because he won.
I sure
What
did.
did you think?
I really enjoyed this movie. I'm a big horror guy. I love horror movies. I think I like horror movies even when they're bad, generally speaking. Like Mithrigan is one of my favorite movies of the year, even though I don't think it's like an incredible movie. Like there's this kind of movie is so enjoyable for me. Scream 6 has the benefit of being like genuinely really good though. I think that there's a lot of like really fun and suspenseful direction. There are a lot of really fun moments. I really like some of like the way they play with your expectations a lot. I like that it feels like a Scream movie based off. I mean, I've only seen 2 of the other ones. I've only seen 1 and 5, but I like that it feels like a Scream movie while also feeling like kind of fresh. Like it's not so tied down to the self-referential thing that it like struggles to just be a movie. And I think Scream 5 might have had a problem with that a little bit. I like fleshing out the characters. I really like all the performances and I really like all the characters. I think they're really fun to follow. Yeah, this was a good movie. This is one of my favorite movies of the year so far. I had a lot of fun watching this. I think I gave this 4 stars, and I think I really think this is the kind of movie that a lot of people could really get behind. Yeah, I have some problems with it, but they're honestly kind of minor. Like this is for what this movie is and what it's trying to be. I think this is like a very successful thing. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm very much on a similar page as you. I I've been watching the Scream franchise. I don't even remember why I started doing this, but I in the past couple of months only I started watching all of them. So I am fully caught up. And yeah, for a franchise that like hasn't been able to hit the highs of the earliest movies, um, I think this movie was everything I wanted it to be. For like, this is the first time I've seen a Scream movie in theaters, um, and it did not let down in that regard. I think the direction and the writing are a huge step up from the last one, which I thought was like pretty good and like probably topped the worst of the franchise. So it wasn't like a like
I've
it
heard
wasn't
the
like the
third one's
franchise was.
bad.
Hmm?
I've heard the third one's really bad. Is it?
Yeah, I didn't. I think the third one is the worst one. I'm pretty sure that's how I had it ranked. Um, and it's so. What I mean is like the franchise hasn't like steadily gone down. There was an uptick with 5, but I think this one surpasses it by quite a bit. Um, the characters are really fun to hang around with. The action and the horror are really good in this movie. I just had a great time. I went to the movies and I had a good time, which is not something I could say with most of the movies I saw this year
Yeah.
that were released this year. And I currently do have it as my top ranked movie of the year,
Yeah.
which is weird. And I'm sure it will not stay there very long. I've only seen maybe like 6 other movies, and most of them are pretty bad though. And I don't know. Yeah, I give it 4 stars. And I would recommend people go see this because it was a blast. I had a really good time. Peter, what did you think? Also, let us know which ones you've seen.
So
Aiden did that,
I've
naturally.
Alex did and Aiden did a good job forcing me to watch at least one Scream movie before going into this, and I'll pick and they recommended number 5, so I watched number
We
5.
both did.
I thought number 5 was really mid, and then I went into this one completely blown away by the movie. I don't really like horror movies usually, and I think this Scream franchise is like very much an entry level horror movie. It's not like scary, but it's still intense enough to get your heart pumping, which I think is sort of like the best quality of watching these movies in theaters. Like you can't pause, you can't go to bathroom breaks. The speakers are blasting you with sound. There's a big ass screen in front of you. Like the suspense and the intensity is unmatched. Watching that in a theater, which I thought is, and like I always find it really weird when the director or the actors come out. I don't know if this happened at your theater,
Yeah.
but like at my theater, like there's a clip right before it's like, oh, thank you for seeing it the way it's intended to be seen, all that. Like I was just like, okay, that's like I don't need that. I just need to get in the movie. But like I absolutely agree with them. Like this movie, if you watch it at home, you just simply cannot feel the intensity of the movie in some moments. Like in several moments, like I genuinely like I I uh I was like grabbing my seat, or like I genuinely like got like jump scares were real when they're in the theaters, which I thought was super cool, and I've never experienced that like in such an intense way before. Um, and I think it's just a major step up in so many ways compared to five, because five was very much an homage to the original, like the previous screens. And with me, which I didn't really know about the previous characters, it didn't really make a lot of sense to me. So a lot of times it's like putting names to characters. Oh, this character is related to that, so he's getting hunted. This character is related to that. But then this movie is very much focused around like the new people, with paying some homage to the old people, but then the old folks are merely name drops most of the time, except for one or two major ghost faces that are sort of that appeared in five and also appeared in the first one. But just a great time. And like I was looking at the movies I've seen this year, it's Creed 3 and Ant-Man, and this is like miles above both of them, I think. Just like a great time, and I think I might start watching some of these light horror movies more often. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. I think I had some kinks about the way the
Here's some
third act.
kinks.
Some kinks.
Here's some kinks. Okay.
Some kinks about
maybe,
how the
maybe not on the pod. We can talk about that off air.
I think the third act
gets into the movie.
I think the third act can be handled a little better, but other than that, I think it's executed very well, and I loved the movie. I thought it was really good. I'd recommend everybody to see it, but if this is your first Scream movie, I recommend to watch 5 before this, just to get a little more context, and you will enjoy it a lot more if you've seen 5, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Like 5 directly leads into this one, so you do need to see 5. Yeah. And I mean, it all started with 1, so like you should probably watch that one as well. It's also the best. And then like this is also like pays homage to the second one, because this is the sequel to the reboot. So you should probably watch 2 as well. And I mean, if you're already there, you might as well watch 3 and 4 anyways. Because I mean, oh no, I fucked it up. Because the 4 has Hayden Panettiere, it has Kirby. So you should watch 4 to catch up on that. And then while you're there, you may as well watch 3 anyways, because you're almost done. So yeah, just watch all of them. It is very funny that you said that this was better than Creed, because I bet most people would disagree, but Aiden and I have not watched Creed 3 yet, so we can't
guys,
like fight you on
Creed
that.
Creed is so overhyped. Oh my goodness.
We don't need to get into that. Yeah. I don't want to take that heat. But yeah, that's very interesting. I'm glad we can talk about a good movie after our really terrible movie last week. Yeah. Guys, we have a spoiler warning.
Pew, 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 pew.
Peter, as the loser of the Predacritic game, you have to summarize this movie.
So easy. Oh my god.
It should not be too hard.
It's not a hard one.
Can I skip the non-major killings?
Yeah, you don't have to. You do what you see fit.
Okay. I see.
Yeah.
How about we just summarize the movie? Do it as you will.
All right.
When the timer starts, the blood starts pumping, and people tend to get in their head and then just kind of like ramble. And so I'm not going to give you any directions, because you'll fuck it up yourself. That's kind of what happens.
Yeah. Give me one moment.
No one does a good synopsis in 2 minutes.
Yeah, on last week's episode, I straight up just like forgot what was happening halfway through.
Because you get caught up, you're like, and then oh no, and then you just stop. Okay, you ready, Peter?
Yeah.
Did you have to write some things down?
No.
Okay, here we go. And I'm gonna do this from now on. I'm gonna hold up a 1 if you're 1 minute in. I'm not gonna cut in, so I'll let you know, and then I'll do a 3 for 30 seconds. Okay.
All right.
We've got the timer, and 3, 2, 1, go.
So the gang from Scream 5 moved to New York because Woodsboro is dangerous and they don't want to live there anymore.
Also college.
Oh yeah, also college. Yeah, good call. So they moved to New York, and Scream killing starts again. This time It's not 2, it's not 1, it's 3 people. And they're actually
You skipped to the end. Okay.
The very end.
dude. I mean, hey, it's spoiler. We've
Yeah.
already said the spoiler warning.
Sure.
So it's 3 people, and actually, the intention this time it's get revenge on Richie. Richie, played by Jack Quaid in Scream 5, had a brother and a sister and a dad, and they're all mad that Richie's dead. So
Yeah.
they put on the mask and they want to get revenge. So they started killing off the friends, and then they also have this gigantic theater setup that was used in the third act, which is like a Scream museum. That's sort of cool. And then Kirby came back as an FBI agent. Gail came back as a reporter. Gail got attacked in her home. The order's all messed up. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So, guys, okay, let me restart. So the order of the attacks, the gang, the original 4 got attacked. The core 4
The gang.
got attacked at their apartment. And then the Mindy's girlfriend died, and Quinn, which is their roommate now, thought to be dead. I'm sorry, I'm going over time. And then they were like, okay, we can track the killer's phone. But then the killer's like, ha ha ha, surprise. Then they went to attack Gail instead of the Carpenter sisters. So Gail got attacked in her home. She's bleeding out, thought to be dead. And then they're like, okay, we gotta use the fact that the killer's tracking you guys to against them. So we'll bait them into the theater, the
Time's
Scream
up.
Museum.
Are you reading something? What are
No,
you
I'm just
reading?
looking at the actors list because there's so many people.
Oh, okay.
So in the museum, the detective, which is Quinn's dad, tricked them.
He's doing air quotation marks
Yeah, because
just
he's
for
not
us.
really a detective. He's a
The
fucking ghost face.
detective.
He's a
Oh,
ghost
God.
face.
He is a detective.
Well, like he tricked them, thinking Kirby is a ghost face, so they're all running away. But then they revealed that the detective and his kids, which are Richie's sister and brother, are actually the ghost face. So they fought, and then Chad got stabbed as well. But Chad, Mindy, and Gail all survived their stabbing. Kirby as well. She sort of got a bullet in the chest somewhere, but she also survived. So end of the day, only the ghost faces and Mindy's girlfriend died, and everyone else survived.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh
that actually-
wow!
that's-
You were gonna talk about that,
Yeah,
but
that's
like,
great,
yeah.
Yeah, I also just want to say Jack Champion, aka Spider, aka Richie's brother, in this movie, is also like part of the friend group. Like he's Chad's roommate, and so that's why like his thing into it.
That was probably the most
That was so chaotic. I'm so
chaotic. Was that directed by Elizabeth Banks?
Oh my
Was
god.
that Synopsis directed by her? 'Cause,
Executive
wow.
produced, man.
You started with the like logline synopsis setup and then cut to the ending, the spoiler ending, as a way to explain what happens, which is not how these movies ever work. But yeah, that's basically I think you kind of got it by the end.
Yeah, that's good
In a very interesting order. So we're gonna start our spoiler discussion. Let's start off with the classic question, the now classic question. What was your favorite part?
I'll let you guys take that first. I actually want to think about that for a sec.
I do have one off the cuff.
Sure.
Not off the dome. It's off. Aiden's is off the dome.
Yeah.
Mine will be off the cuff.
Right.
So off of my cuff, I would have to say one of my favorite scenes is the bodega scene.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll get into this more later, but one of the very New York things about this movie is there's a scream or a ghost face scene in a bodega. So they're running away from. I love how that starts too. Like he just pops out of the shadows, chases them, and then doesn't give a fuck that he's in public, and like is still like he's like hunting them.
Yeah.
Which feels so new for a Scream movie. And then I think he starts with a knife. The bodega store owner pulls out a shotgun. And then Ghostface has a shotgun, which is new and interesting. I don't think it's the only time he's had a gun, but it's a great scene. I love the tension where they're hiding from him between the shelves. And there's the broken glass which was a really good detail, trying not to make noise on the broken glass.
Yeah.
Man, there's some like great shots,
Yeah.
which is
The one
in
that
a Scream
racked
movie.
the tip of the shotgun
Yes.
barrel. That's so sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Also, so that one was like obviously one of the best ones of the whole movie. There's also the shot where they're between the shelves and she's looking at Ghostface and he's turned away and then he looks at her through the shelf, the crack in the shelf. Oh my god!
Yeah.
So I I love that scene so much. It was in the trailer and I knew this was going to be a good one. But
I also love
wow,
how it establishes like oh shit, like we're dealing with a different thing here. Like you were saying,
Mhm.
like it like really effectively established like okay, these Ghostface like really don't give a fuck, and it like we're in New York now, like you know, like and there's people everywhere, so you'd think like oh maybe they have to be like more reserved, but it's like no, we're right out in public, and you see that in the
yeah.
subway scene too, and that's one of the things I really like about that as well. Um, the subway scene that's much later when what's her Jasmine Savoy Brown? What's her character's name?
Mindy.
Mindy. When Mindy gets stabbed.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Peter, do you have any thoughts on the bodega scene?
Dude, I love that scene. But I actually that's not my favorite. I did really enjoy that scene though. My favorite has to be when they're in the theater and Chad just got sort of executed, and both
That's your
Ghostface
favorite scene?
was
Okay.
at the theater commission the commissions the snack
Concessions.
bar concession stand.
Concession
Oh my
stand,
god,
yeah.
that word wasn't coming to me.
The
And
Commissioner
then
Gordon stand.
and then they did this with their knives. Like
Yeah.
they were sort
Oh
of,
yeah.
that was so sick.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And the sound at the background is like sharpening their knife
Yeah.
at the same
Yeah.
time. That was such a lit scene. And when it comes to most intense scene, though, in my opinion, it's Gail's apartment. Like it's just such a
Okay.
fun playground for the Scream people. And like even though like
Scream people.
I get like the Carpenter apartment scene, like overall it's more bloody and more intense, but that one had this sort of like a hunter and a prey thing going on where like oh now she has a gun, so she's like when it comes to firepower she's coming off on top. But like there's so many times where the dynamics switch between the Scream duo and Gale, and I just thought that was so fun. And that scene when they appeared behind like a shelf genuinely gave me a scare. And I thought it was really funny when Gail was taking a call and her boyfriend just got stabbed in the back very quietly.
Oh, yeah.
You just see the body falling down. But yeah, that was my these two were some of my favorites.
The moment I love in that scene is also when like Gail like quickly hangs up the phone and then calls him and then like shoots through
Yes!
the door, and then they're approaching her.
Yes!
I'm like, that's a great moment. Yeah.
You know, I was like, oh, that's genius. The fact that, you know, it's been six movies and they haven't done that yet, the callback
Yeah.
thing, like it's smart and it shows that character progression, like she's
Right.
done this.
Yeah,
She's an expert.
That's what I
She
like.
should have been thinking about this.
I think there is a lot of like character motivated actions within action set pieces that I like as well. Like the way
Mhm.
Gail responds in this situation is like very adept, like knows what she's doing. Like only really gets stabbed at the end through like sleight of hand, more or less. Like it's just like a little detail.
Yep. Doesn't give a fuck about her boyfriend. She's like, I didn't care anyways. I knew he was gonna die. You know.
But yeah, no, and I think in the apartment scene too, like I like seeing the way the different characters like react within like peril, like in like really intense situations. Like I think that's one of the things that made this movie stand out to me is that there's a lot of like specific attention to like how characters react and what characters do. But honestly, like I love both those scenes. Those are probably two of my favorite scenes. I would say one of my favorite parts is honestly like the opening sequence, like our kind of that we have. I loved that. I mean, I love like, you know, we're starting on like a random person and we're getting like, okay, like we're introducing the concept and it's like really, really fresh. I really like the idea. Like when Tony Revolori takes off the mask and then it's like, what's going on here? And then, and then we follow him like through his day and like, that's so naturally tense because it's like the writers are taking advantage of the fact that you know someone has to die. Like you know they have to do the thing where they raise the hand / title card. Like you know that's gonna happen, and the writers know that you know it's gonna happen. And so like even him just walking around his apartment is very tense. And I think that like they use shots that like don't reveal much of the apartment like when he's there, and I think like that's like something that's carried throughout the whole thing. Yeah, and then I really love it. Also sets up this idea of like because they're playing kind of with like redditor mob mentality. Like that's one of the ideas they're
Oh,
playing with in this movie, and I
mhm.
like that they're like kind of these incel guys a little bit, and yeah,
Peter has something to
Yo,
say.
so I do.
two things. So first, I thought it's really fun because the directors of this movie also did Ready or Not,
Oh yeah,
which
Oh, that
Samara
explains a
Weaving,
lot.
yeah, Samara
Okay.
Weaving starred in, and she is the final girl. So like seeing, like I was like, oh, that's Samara Weaving, and it's like, oh, she's probably gonna die because it's the opening scene.
yeah.
It's like that. I thought that was a fun callback, and also like totally unexpected. Like there were so many big cameos. Like I wasn't expecting to see fucking Flash Thompson from the MCU just show up here, you know, and
I
the
think you mean
scream.
Zero from Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah, but people don't know that movie. It's a small indie movie, which I loved. Grand Budapest is one of my favorites. But anyways,
Grand Budapest, a small indie movie for sure. Yeah.
uh, but like love the Ghostface on Ghostface action. Like I thought that's just like
Yeah.
you guys said, like there are so many fresh takes of this franchise in this movie that I just thought it's just really fun to see. Uh,
One
I
of the
do
things I
think,
also,
yeah. Oh,
sorry, just really
oh,
quick. One of the things
uh-huh.
I also love about that scene is like the like it also establishes this idea of like things can happen in the middle of like crowded areas, and there's so many like
Mhm.
nooks and crannies in New York City that like
mhm.
anyone could be lurking in. Like it happens in this alley right beside a busy street, and no one
Yeah.
notices. He just walks out, and I like that idea a lot.
Yeah. I think this is one of the strongest cold opens. I think it's also one of the few that's like a fake out. There's another one which I
In Scream
don't think
4.
you guys would have seen in number four,
I've
where
seen the opening.
okay, so
So I
there's
know
the opening in four for those who haven't seen. Spoilers, I suppose.
pew.
Is
Rude. That was a very
feeble,
weak
just
pew.
feeble pew.
Yeah.
Um, uh, and in that one, it's
It starts out
there's two
normal.
people there's two people watching a movie, and then somebody kills them, and then it's revealed that people are watching a movie where that happened, and they're like, "Whoa,
Yeah,
isn't that
or
crazy?"
whatever, yeah.
And then they get killed watching that movie, and then that turns out to be a movie, and then it's the real people who are also watching that movie. So it's like a movie in a movie in a movie. It's like
Yeah.
Inception.
That's so funny.
But yeah, the Ghostface killing Ghostface thing was really.
Yeah.
I was quite shocked, and it's the moment when he reveals his mask. It's probably 5 minutes into the movie, and you're like, that is
That's
not
too
supposed to
early,
happen.
yeah.
Yeah.
This should not be happening, and it sets up the rest of the movie being kind of like different than the rest.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's all in all, it's not really too different from a Scream movie. It's still pretty
Yeah.
like nothing insane happens for a Scream movie, but it is pushing the boundaries of what the Scream movies are, I think,
Mhm.
and it is very different from the other ones, nonetheless.
And
I
also, I
will
just
say,
thought the reason behind the
wow,
killing was funny. Sorry, Alex.
oh,
Um,
that he's just like a film major.
yeah, he's like, he
Yeah.
gave me
Yeah.
a C on my paper.
I mean, not like film majors are cool people, I think, but intro film students, don't trust them.
Yeah.
They could be Ghostface,
True.
most of them. I was
Wait,
gonna say
most
that.
of them.
I'm just whatever. I was gonna say New York famously or infamously, no, it's a myth, I guess, that New York has alleyways because it doesn't.
Oh really?
New York City has in total 3 alleyways.
Oh really?
Yeah, and it's a misconception, because so many movies set in New York have alleyways because
Yeah.
you'd assume like, oh, it's so seedy and whatever, but
Yeah.
no, there's only 3. A lot of them film in this one alleyway, and I've been there.
Well,
It's
this one
cool.
was shot in Montreal, so that would.
And I was gonna say yes. So a big reason is because a lot of movies don't film in New York.
Yeah.
They film in Toronto or Vancouver or Montreal to emulate New York, and so where they have alleyways and stuff like they don't know. But yeah, great opening sequence. What else should we talk about? Um, uh,
We should talk about stuff.
We should. How about we talk about? Let's go to the beginning. Let's just go in order,
Yeah.
unless we have a reason not to. Um,
Can we
So
talk
first-
about like
Thank you.
did you guys like guess the ending, or do we want to save
Sure.
it for
Do
later?
we want to talk about that?
Because I
now
feel
or
like
later?
it's natural. Like we talk about did we predict it, and then we go through the
Sure.
individual parts maybe.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, so I will say I sent a text to the group chat after this saying I am a god among men. And that was because
Yeah, that was a
Humble.
great text.
Always humble.
I guessed every single killer, and not only that, I was like almost spot on with what the motivation and backstory was for it. Because like I am actually like the smartest person to ever walk this planet, I think is the reasoning.
Wow.
Yeah, like when Quinn says like something about her brother very early on to the movie, like she's like, "Oh,
yeah.
when my brother passed away," and the movie doesn't call attention to it that much.
Yeah.
And if it
Mhm.
did, then I wouldn't have clocked it as much. But because it's just something that you're clearly supposed to kind of dismiss, I was like, "No, that's important."
Yeah.
And then she dies, but we don't see her die, and we just see her bloody body thrown out, and it's like, if you're gonna do that, you're gonna have her like head cut off or something. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be really brutal. You're not gonna waste a death in a Scream movie. So I was like, Kate, she's alive. She's definitely the killer. If she's alive, the dad has to be the killer because he has to lie about the fact that he saw her body. Then there's also the line where he's like, "Yeah, I do it. I'm gonna kill the people who killed my family or whatever." And he says that to Tara and Sam, and it's like, yeah, you're talking to them. I get it. Like I see what you're saying. And then they went through the whole like, oh, the franchise rules are out the window. They went through that speech, and I was like, okay, well, they're gonna do something with the killers. I think they're gonna have a third one. They've never done that.
What the fuck? That's
yeah,
insane.
I
The fact
literally
you
did-
guessed
I
that,
did-
that's crazy.
I did think that because I was just like, I think it might have also been a thing where it didn't quite make sense maybe to have, if it was just them, there were some things where it's like, well, they couldn't have been there, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah.
But also, and then I knew it was Jack Champion because it got to a point where there's a certain amount where characters need to be cannon fodder. Like they need to, basically they replicate the same narrative function, and they need to either die or get a new narrative function. And so like the girlfriend and Jack Champion are both like they're just like outsiders that are like, what do you mean a ghost face is coming after me? So it's like, and
Yeah.
they don't have a unique perspective on it. So she dies because like she's not doing anything in the script. And then
Yeah, I see.
we're getting far into the movie where Jack Champion hasn't done anything and he needs to do something.
Oh my god, that's
That's
so
smart, actually. Yeah.
So like there's that, and it's like it's the same reason I knew it was Jack Quaid in the first one, where it was like, why is he here? Like we're getting far into the movie and there's nothing, he hasn't done anything, and he has to do a big thing to justify being here. The only thing I didn't guess that he was a brother. I actually thought he was just like an incel guy that was like hated them and like was just tagging along like, yeah, I'll kill them too. But that's the only part of it that I did guess.
Wow.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Oh, and then one more thing about the replicating narrative function. I knew it was the dad because you have two cops who have like the same perspective on the thing more or less. You don't need two cops because you have Kirby and the dad. So one.
Dude, you're crazy.
Like,
what the fuck?
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, he's okay. So you're going off a little too hard. I was kind of like, I got it, as I said in the chat, 75% correct, because I clocked it being the dad, the police detective, pretty early on, because now I like that we have different reasoning too, which makes it very interesting. So my reasoning is that is an actor that I recognize.
Yeah.
And so I was always kind of suspicious of him. I was like, I know this guy. I've seen him in movies. He's kind of like mid-famous, like character actor. And character actors are like, that's who you want to cast as Ghostface. So I clocked that as being suspicious. And I don't remember the other reasons, but like he was just saying weird things all the time. And once I realized it was him, I knew it had to be the daughter. So I figured out that she was not dead as well. It wasn't for the same reasons as Aiden, but I knew she was alive, and it was those two. I was genuinely surprised that there was a third person, because I didn't think there would need to be, but when a third Ghostface showed up, I was like, oh my god. Like I was genuinely shocked. but I did know that I knew it would have been a the brother thing. So I guess we kind of had the same amount right, except you knew Jack Champion Spider would also be. Anyways,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess I'm not a god amongst men. I'm more of like a demigod amongst men. But like that's pretty
You're
good.
my son.
Like that's weird. But we don't have to get into the particulars. But no, like yeah, I found that over time, having seen more Scream movies, I'm able to get them right more often, which is always fun.
Yeah.
Peter, I imagine you got none of it right and had no
Dude.
idea what was going on.
Okay, hear me out. I have this weird thing going on where I judge Ghostface based on their physical abilities.
Okay.
So okay, and I'm pretty sure this is terribly inaccurate for Scream because apparently Ghostface are just superhuman.
Yeah,
But,
the idea is always that like you take up the mantle and you just become Ghostface, and now you're
Yeah.
Ghostface. Like that's generally
Yeah.
So like I'm like, okay, this Ghostface seems very strong. He's able to just handle like big strong men like in the bodega, and then he's very adept with weapons with a shotgun.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, who is adept with weapon and is also super strong? The detective.
Oh, he was right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And I was super surprised. Like at the end, detective called him. It's like, oh, I'm not there. You know, it's like, oh, Kirby, she's it. And then Kirby showed up all bloody. And I'm just like, yo, shit, is it actually Kirby all this time? There's no way, right? Like she got stabbed and she just like turned on Ghostface. And then obviously the detective shot her. It was like, okay, thank God. And then of course did not see the third Ghostface coming. I thought for the longest time it's Sam's new boyfriend because Sam's boyfriend's strong, you know, but then he kept appearing in the scenes without costume, without like the Ghostface costume with the victims, you know? He's with the group when victims are getting stabbed. So
I also don't think they do the it's her boyfriend again. That was what I was thinking as well.
Yeah, that's a good call. But I just thought like that dumb boy Jack Quaid is sort of like he's basically playing Huey in The Boys, you know, like this sort of like shy boyfriend trope.
Yeah, it's literally like Richie is his name. Like you could like it's like,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And like I thought like this one's like a strong like no dumb jock boyfriend type that's gonna turn out to be the killer. But then like obviously he kept appearing in the scenes that the killer also appears in without costume and without a knife. So I was like, okay, so it can't be him. And then the three Ghostface caught me completely off guard. Like I was not expecting that at all. I thought Quinn's like dead for real when she fell over out the door. I was like, oh fuck. So it's not Quinn. And I was really surprised that Ghostface just did this behind her. It's like, what the fuck is that scene supposed to be about? You know? Like looking back, is it just for the guy across the sea? It's like, hey, I'm about to go
he's just fucking with him. Like,
I'm about to go Quinn. But anyways, yeah, I got 30% of it right, but there we go.
Actually, yeah, that was a good moment too, where Pug from She-Hulk is like across the
That's
alley, and he's like,
That's
I clocked that.
Yeah.
I clocked that almost immediately, and I was like, I can't look at this guy the same way. He's the dumb lawyer from She-Hulk. Man, Pug was so fun. You remember that show?
Yeah.
But we were talking about, did you guess it right? Which leads us to the question: does this make it predictable? The fact that Aiden and I both were pretty close to on the nail or whatever people say.
Yeah, that's actually one of my criticisms of this movie, where I actually don't think this movie provides very many options for who the killer can be. Like realistically, like it doesn't provide that many motivations, especially as you get further into the movie, where it's like, okay, like it could be this person, but they haven't really set that up. Like it would be kind of dumb if it was this person. And so it's like, yeah, like that was also one of the reasons I thought it was going to be a third killer, because I was like, they're in a position where they can't make it surprising who the killer is going to be, because it's like it can't really be anyone but the cop and daughter. So that's one of the reasons I was like, well, to make it surprising, they'll add a third person. That's something like that, where because. And I do feel like
it can't be the core four, and it can't be
Right.
Courtney Cox, and so you're running out of people already, and then
And
someone
I
visibly
didn't think it was
die.
gonna be Kirby. Like I wasn't really convinced on that. And it was like, yeah, like and yeah, you're getting to a point where it's like there aren't that many people it could be. I didn't think it would be the boyfriend again, and we haven't seen much of the boyfriend. Like he hasn't again, like
Hmm.
with Jack Champion, we get this set up like, oh, he's not good with like girls, like he's a virgin and whatever. Like there are like multiple scenes where we call attention to that, and then he like I forget. He says something at the end that makes him all incelly, or I don't remember. I don't remember what he says. He says something,
Yeah, yeah.
but like, so we have set up for that. That like he is this kind of like jealous, sort of like kind of creepy guy a little bit. Like, and so like there's something to be revealed there. Whereas like with the other characters, there isn't much. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's one of my criticisms where it's like the guessing game element wasn't as fun for me because I was like, I know who it is. It
Mhm.
like can't really be anyone else. But yeah, I don't know.
I I do think that that's a good point, but otherwise, I think while sticking more or less to the same kind of tried and true formula of the Scream movies, I do think that this movie does a lot to um,
Innovate.
stray and to yeah, like innovate, I guess, so that while maybe there's not quite so many options for who the killer could be, I do think like most of the scenes feel very fresh,
Yeah,
which is
no,
a
I
really
agree.
nice change. Um, I do think like yeah, some of the worst of the franchise I'm just thinking back to, and it's like yeah, it really is just like the same kind of setups. Like oh, here's one character who's alone, and you know they're gonna be like looking around. They get a phone call, and instead this time they're going on the offensive. Things are happening in public. So um, I I honestly don't care if I'm able to guess who the killer is because, like I said, I've been pretty close the last couple times. But I don't know. I think it's fun to be able to guess who it is because what the alternative. Here's a point. The alternative is with Scream 3 there's like I don't think there's any way to guess like or maybe there is but like
Yeah,
I was kind of like wait what it's this person and I don't need to reveal who it is but
I
it was
know who it is.
just
I've
it
like
was
seen it.
just
But yeah,
so random that I was like this isn't fun because I actually do want to be able to guess who it is
yeah.
because
Well,
if it's if it's too random and there weren't clues enough then it's like okay well what was the point of making it
but there's a
so
happy
dumb.
medium between that
For sure, yeah.
where you can guess it and you can you can put red herrings in like that's what I'm really saying is like there aren't really that many red herrings in this movie.
Hmm.
Like there's not much to lead you down the wrong path, and I think you can
Yeah.
just put a couple more of those in and just make it a little bit more
I I
guessing.
actually saw Spider Jack Champion. His he was playing the person who is usually the ghost face, like the incel white boy.
Yeah.
So just like Jack Quaid, just like the person in Scream 4. I'm trying to remember Scream 2. No, I don't think Scream 2 was like that. But like anyways, like the kind of person you would in our day and age expect to be a ghost face person anyways. Just
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's probably that guy. Like so I took that as a red herring and thinking that they would try and
Oh,
deviate from the franchise away from that. So I don't know if they did that on purpose, being like we're gonna play into it more, knowing like I don't know if they were on the reverse psychology kind of train, but that's how I was operating. And so I think that was kind of interesting. But
So I think honestly, like for me, with only seeing five, I think my biggest problem with five is whenever you see an open door or like a shop where you see a character alone, then you're like, okay, the character's gonna die or it's getting stabbed. There will be attack happening, you know. But like with this
every
one,
time there's an open door,
yeah, dude, there's so
what is
many
up with
times,
open door? What's up with all these open doors in this
dude.
place?
I think it was his name is Wes. Wes is the guy with
Yeah.
the sheriff's son, right?
yeah.
Like that entire scene was just like open door, open door, open door, open fridge door, open backyard door, open front door. It's like you see open doors and you're like, oh shit, someone's gonna die, you know? Like literally, I was gonna write a review for Scream 5. It's just like literally, I am now forever scared of open doors because of Ghostface, you know?
I actually
But
I really like the scene where that character dies though. I think that was so much fun.
Which one?
Like you're not
Or-
sure like where the
Yeah,
ghost
because
face is.
it's like faking you out. The one where he's
Yeah,
going
yeah,
around
yeah.
the house and he
Oh,
opens the
West.
fridge and
Yeah.
it's cut off, and then it's like
Yeah.
the ghost gonna be behind it. I think that's fun.
Like
That's a good scene.
I thought that was cool, but like I enjoy the what they've done here a lot more, in my opinion. Where it's like you feel like it's not like baiting you. Oh, Ghostface is here, Ghostface is here. It's like Ghostface is here. It's just you don't know where he's going to be coming from in this movie. I thought that was executed better. But when it comes to actual predictability, I only predict 30% of the movie. I just thought like the movie told you enough to make these predictions possible, but then not too much to make these predictions obvious, to me at least. And I thought that's like the perfect balance that every mystery or like whodunit movie should be striving for, and that did the thing for me. So it worked. I liked it. So that's my take.
Cool.
Yeah. So like, cool. Yeah. Yeah. Open doors. Am I right? So
Open
speaking
doors,
of
exactly.
predictability and open doors, let's talk about the directing.
Yeah.
So this was that was a bad segue on purpose. So the
How
directing, I
did
think,
he
is
direct the open doors? It's like door open.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the directing was a huge step up from the last one. I don't know like what special juice they like took, because I would have thought that different people had directed this from the last one. Like it's
really?
that drastic to me.
Oh.
I just think that a lot of attention was paid to shot choice, especially.
Yeah.
Where there's like I can't think of a single shot from 5, and I saw it in January, so not too long ago. But I can't think of a single shot that I was like impressed by in that one.
Sure.
And then this movie, like I have a little document where like I take shots from movies that I think are really awesome, and I just like that's something I do.
Yeah.
There are shots from this movie I would put in that document.
Oh, cool.
Like
what?
There was the shotgun shot we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
There's a shot at almost at the very end of the movie where she leaves the mask behind and it's on the pavement and they're walking away in a wide shot.
Yeah, that's a classic.
It's no shot.
I
like the way they used the screen, the projector in the final scene. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, with the fire, it was like Bastards. It was like Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think also lighting was really good in this movie.
Yeah.
Not necessarily directing, but I think the characters are a lot stronger than they were in this one.
Yes.
And I have a whole point about the characters that we'll get into, but I do think that a huge part of that is the directing and how they were directed.
Yeah.
But Peter is bouncing around and he has something to say.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you on the character point. We'll talk more when we actually get to that. But I just thought overall, like New York is just such a fun playground, and the direction they took the movie was just utilizing every parts of New York, you know, and
oh. Okay.
He's like,
dude,
somebody save me! I'm done.
Dude, I was trying to give Aiden because I brought him New York. It's like Aiden.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Segue to
New
my
York.
point, yeah. Yeah. So I think moving to New York, great idea. I think it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of ideas. My point is actually that I almost feel like they just could have done a bit more with it. Like I do feel like there's sometimes where we're getting into like really isolated situations that like aren't like that could kind of happen anywhere. Like the apartment is not an example of that, because I think like the idea of like, oh, they have to crawl between apartments, like that's a really fun, and like it's kind of this claustrophobic thing, like that's fun. The bodega thing isn't an example of that. They got the subway, so I'm not saying they don't do it, like they do. I think they do it pretty well. But so for example, like the third act is like just in this theater, and I really like that location. I think it's really cool, and there are a lot of things I like about it, but I almost feel like that's not as interesting. Like that could be in Woodsboro, and I feel like that's not utilizing like the horror of New York. It kind of drops off there, and I feel like if they had not something corny like they're on the Statue of Liberty, like that's stupid, but like or even going to Times Square might be kind of dumb, but like I don't know, just something that utilizes like the outdoor you know, standing out, like hiding in plain sight kind of thing a little bit more. I think like that could have been really fun. It's not like a big criticism, but I just
yeah. I know what you mean, and I do kind of agree with that. I think you've got this great idea of like, yes, what is Ghostface like in New York? Because he's only ever been. Oh no. He's been in mostly in Woodsboro, but also in Hollywood. So they do kind of like do that as well. Although I think even in that scenario, they're not really playing in Hollywood so much as in a back studio lot. I digress.
Yeah.
I do think that there are some really great set pieces that do utilize the location. So the bodega, subway. I think even just the idea of an apartment is very New York.
Yeah.
Not exclusive to New York, but um, and the alleyways that don't exist there. But they do spend one scene in Central Park, but I do think that it doesn't really feel like Central Park
Yeah.
because they're just kind of like that could have been any park. There's
Yeah.
none of the distinct Central Park things are there. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
maybe
not a
just
big
like
fan of that scene.
yeah, it was a kind of a nothing scene in a nothing location.
Yeah.
I do think that maybe one more thing or like I don't know. But yeah, what you said about the theater is kind of like it doesn't necessarily feel New Yorkian to warrant how big of a role it plays. And I'm not sure how you would go around that. Maybe like an abandoned warehouse might feel more like New York, but yeah, like unless it was like I actually do think your Times Square idea would be kind of fun
That
because
might be
of
fun.
the
Yeah.
people dressed up there anyways and the lights could be really interesting, but um, yeah, maybe didn't utilize
Or like,
Ghostface in the Big
what if
Apple to pull
they're
this
like trying
down.
to clear Sam's name a little bit? They're also trying to like expose Ghostface publicly in some way or something. I don't know.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Peter.
Yeah, I thought like one thing I thought the movie just did really well is like in the first movie, it's very much like if you're in a crowd, or sorry, Screen 5, if you're in a crowd, you should be safe, you know? And I really like how this idea of setting in New York, big city, so many people, the horror of crowds, where like Mindy literally got stabbed middle of the subway,
Yeah.
you know, no one's
I love
looking at
that.
her, no one cares. It's only when like uh, what's his character? Ethan's name, I think. Ethan's his name. Ethan was dragging his body outside the subway. Then everyone's like, "Oh my god, is she okay?" Like, I really love that. It's like in these situations, you get another layer of horror where like you have this scene where like the subway is going through tunnels or the lights are flickering, and then you periodically see Ghostface just crawling steadily more and more towards you. That's great. That's just like only in New York moments, you know? And like the fact that they got separated because there were so many people rushing in and out, they can't squeeze on the subway. They're just like moments that New York helped create that I thought the movie did super well. So I like this
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I think we should talk about the subway scene.
Yeah.
Because I think that's
And we're
we
not
didn't
talking
mention
about
it in
eating
our
fresh, dude.
what?
We're not
Oh,
talking
okay.
about eating fresh, dude.
Actually, speaking of which, maybe you should eat fresh. Go to Subway. Yeah, this is fake. This is
Nice.
we're not sponsored.
Yeah.
But if Subway wanted to sponsor us, we could use some money.
Hey.
Speaking of Subways, there's a scene in a Subway, but not eat fresh. We're going in circles. I do think the Subway scene is one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Didn't mention it at the top, but the tension of like the lights flickering, like Peter said, and Ghostface kind of appearing in and out, and how like patient they are with kind of like making you know like something is gonna happen, but really like stretching it out and being like, no, nothing's here just yet. Don't worry, but be nervous because like they keep cutting to like close-ups of the nerd girl character. What's her name? She has a name.
Mindy.
Mindy. So they keep cutting to close-ups of Mindy, and like just like the crowd, the people who are all dressed in horror icon costumes, and it's yeah. I think what Peter said about the thing about crowds, the horror of crowds, I think is a really good insight actually.
Yeah. I really love the
they play
editing in
into
that
a lot.
scene. I love
Yeah.
the editing in that scene too. I think it works really well. It does a really good job to like single out like because you see all these people in Ghostface masks and you're like, well, this person, like, just through the power of editing looks more sus. Like, we cut to a close-up of Mindy, like, kind of furrowing her brow a little bit, cut to that person, and it's actually the ghost face that's, like, not really looking at her, where it's like, whoa. Like, just that little detail of he's sitting down with his head down on the subway is really threatening, because it's the idea that, like, he stands out in this crowd of people who are kind of like looking around and everything, and they're like kind of looking at her, like, but he is just like doubled over, like he's planning something or something. I thought that was great. Yeah.
I think like actually what Peter had said earlier has made me think about something, but I think the Scream franchise has always kind of pointed out the callousness of other people and like bystanders, especially people who are like who love the Stab franchise within the Scream franchise, and so they always get super excited about these movies, and yet when there's people who are like who were the actual victims, they don't like respect that, and this has been going on since I don't know, probably the sequel even, where they open on the Stab movie opening in the world. Anyways, I think that they take this idea that like ordinary people don't like, which is also true of just our regular world, so it's a good satire. But they take this idea and they bring it to 11 in this city of people who are often so trying so hard to like stay in their own bubble, and New Yorkers are often seen as a callous people. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. But I think those scenes where you're in public but you're not safe because all of these people are not paying attention, or they're just kind of like worried about themselves. And I think people wearing those Halloween costumes is also kind of saying something, which is interesting. Anyways, this is a rambly point, Peter.
Yeah, and I just really love that they set this around Halloween time. It's like
Yeah,
like two normal people who've not been through the ghost face trauma that our main characters have been through. Like these are just Halloween costumes. They're like Halloween icons from horror movies. But like to these people, any one of these, because they're being hunted actively, any one of these can be their killer hiding in plain sight. And I thought that just adds such like so much tension to both the I forgot his name. The Carpenter sister group on the subway, and also to Mindy and the Ethan group on the subway. So
I remember where my point was going, but I forgot from the last one. So what this movie does that is interesting is people are accusing Sam Carpenter of being like the killer all along and like being Ghostface.
Yeah.
And I think I don't really know the timing of like when this was written, but it seems so sharp and like accurate to the world we are currently living in, with like off the not off the top of my head, but like I can think of at least two very well known famous trials, very public trials that happened in the past year or maybe 2 years, I can't remember, where women had been abused, and it got so popular, and then the trial got popular, and then people turned against the women who had been abused in the first place and were like demonizing them. So like one was Megan Thee Stallion, who was shot by her, I think it was her partner,
It's Tory Lane.
by Tory Lane. People were like victim blaming her, and the same thing with, now this is a little more dubious, Amber Heard probably was not the perpetrator of those things.
Well, at the very least, there's clear evidence that Johnny Depp was in fact abusive, and people were just ignoring that. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Mostly because he's the Pirates guy. How could he be bad? And I think like challenging that in the Scream movies, and despite us having seen so knowing that the audience has seen the actual events in the last movie and playing on that, I think was a really great move that made it feel very, very relevant to our modern day, which doesn't always necessarily happen. Actually, no, the Scream franchise has always been pretty good at being accurate. I saw on Twitter someone was mentioning that Scream 4, I think, the kids are like, there's one line where the kids say, "Who cares about friends? I need fans." And it's like, man, if you could jump ahead 10 years later, like Wes, you would be shocked. Um, anyways, did you guys have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think that the movie did a really good job of just like some of the things of some of the ideas of like internet culture in general. One of the things that was mentioned that I really liked was they talk about true crime, which I think for Scream 7 going down that kind of rabbit hole a little bit, like if there's a stab mini series like docu series coming out or something, like I think that would
So
be great.
smart.
Yeah, like that seems like such a great thing. But like yeah, this like kind of like morbid, it is a bit of like morbid curiosity with what's happening, but like this tendency to like treat like real horrible situations like these are characters in a movie, and I think that it is very interesting to do that in such a way that like you're doing it with actual characters in a movie. I think that that's actually a really good way of talking about it. um yeah, no, and I thought it was integrated really well into the movie as well. It yeah.
Yeah. Um, no, I think the true crime thing is really interesting. That's a good idea for where they could go. I know Peter also wanted to talk about how this movie
Oh,
mentions Letterboxd,
yeah, I
which
thought it
is
was really funny.
pretty accurate for a time.
No, it's just like Letterbox to me is like such an indie film platform. Just seeing it getting the popularity it's getting now, it's just you know
Yeah.
feels
It's
good.
it's
Feels
not
good to
that
be a
indie anymore. It
yeah. It
might have
feels
been
good to
indie like
be
5 years ago, but like now it's like borderline mainstream.
feels good to be a Letterbox member. You know, it's like half
Sometimes it does,
popular now.
for
You
sure.
know,
Sometimes.
Uh, Somehow we never got around to this, but we kind of alluded to how much we love this ensemble cast.
Yeah.
Um, the Scream franchise, I think, is one that relies on having a good cast, and a lot of them have been from in this movie have been taken from previous movies, probably more so than any other Scream before. We have the core four. We have Courtney
Gail,
Cox and as Gail
Kirby.
and
Kirby.
Kirby, maybe Vanessa Kirby if you're me and you keep messing up the character's name. Um, but some like I'm shocked that these are the same characters from the last movie because they're so vibrant. I mean, Mindy is very clearly the same as she was in
Yeah.
five, but I think Chad has a lot more to do.
Yeah.
I also like how
Well,
they
Tara for sure, like is like borderline not really a character in the fifth one. Uh,
Yeah, she's just like
that's
I'm injured.
that's Jenna Ortega,
I'm in the
right?
yeah,
wheelchair.
and she's just
Yeah.
like kind of for the whole of the fifth one.
I think part of that is the Jenna Ortega blow up. Like you
Yeah.
can't once you realize you have gold, like you're sitting on
Yeah, they
gold, then you're like,
positioned her
oh, I'm
more as
gonna
the
mine
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes, what you're alluding to is her face on the poster is like twice as big as it was in the first movie. Peter?
Yeah, and I just love the way they explored Sam's character as well because I feel like Sam's character in the first one feels so flat. It's just like,
Actually,
o-
yeah. Yeah, I
okay,
agree.
I have this past family trauma. I'm actually a daughter of a serial killer.
Yeah,
Yeah, I might be bloodthirsty too. Okay, and then this one is like actively dealing with the event of the previous film. It's like, what should the relationship between the sibling be? Is she being overprotective? Um, is she actually like with the people accusing her of being the perpetrator of the previous movie's events? Is she sort of leaning towards more of her dark side? And I really loved at the very end she kept Billy Loomis's mask, but then like decided to
Yeah, she
drop
did.
it and let went with the Tara into the ambulance. It's like these are like really powerful like micro like they're really small moments, but they show a lot about the character, and I really love the number of times the movie did that, and like really seeing how the core four bonding is also a great moment as well. Like seeing like these little dynamics going on within the group.
no, I think you're absolutely right that the movie does a really good job of just small moments where it's just like just little things that the characters do that are like, oh, the other characters wouldn't do this, and you kind of like call attention to like they did this because of this, like this, it's this kind of character. I really like that, even like from the beginning, like how they're kind of all acting in the party, like the frat party at the very beginning. Like
Yeah.
I even think that is like really good stuff. Um, yeah, and I really like the moment with Sam towards the end when she's like, no, I shouldn't kill him. But then it's like, fuck you. I forget what she says, but then she like stabs him in the head. It was like, yeah. Like
No,
that's
that was badass, by the way, where she like went like that reversal.
yeah,
Was so
yeah.
cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, when she put on the ghost face thing. Yeah.
I
No,
think centering the sister dynamic was a really strong choice, and I think it is what kind of like elevates this movie, centering not only that but also what Sam is dealing with the backlash, and I think maybe that's part of why this movie stands out to me is that the central character has so much personal growth to do,
yeah.
and is like dealing with a lot of different factors as well as killers on the loose.
Dealing with a lot of different things that all relate to the same internal struggle, though, which is something that like because there's like a weird thing that can happen where if you give a character too many internal struggles, it starts to feel unrealistic, even though people in real life do. It's just like it feels unfocused, but it does a really good job of like different things are happening to her that make her reflect on her internal struggle in different ways. And I think that's a really clever part of this script.
And I think that shot that Peter brought up, which is the one that I thought was so good, is kind of like it's a shot that encapsulates the theme, which is again not something I would think of when I think of Scream, a movie like doing that, where like she's like she's how do I say this? She's tackling this idea like that she's the daughter of Billy Loomis and that legacy of being the daughter of a serial killer, and she's like choosing to leave that behind, and hanging out with her sister. She's like she's leaving the match to go for her sister,
and defining herself by a different relationship instead of daughter of serial killer. I'm sister of this person I care about and want to protect and stuff.
I was gonna say sister of Sam because like. Was it Son of Sam?
Yeah.
But like, that'll be the next Scream franchise.
When they start calling her sister. No, that'll be funny if they started calling like Tara sister of Sam or whatever. Like they think.
No. Just 10 years from now, give the Carpenters. They'll do the same. This will be a never-ending cycle.
Dude, I just love how like the mom just never shows up. It's like last movie is like, oh, mom's in London. This movie's like, mom's cut off.
Actually, honestly, like I do think that's a third movie type thing where like they'll say like you have to bring up the thing that was kind of like teased in the first one.
The mom reveal.
Dude, like in the third one they mentioned that in Scream 3 they mentioned that in the third movie you always have to tie it back to the first and reveal something so that is like what you thought you knew from the first movie isn't fully true. There's something missing. So they could do that on two levels with mom reveal from this franchise, but also tie back to Scream 1. We'll get into that. While we're here, why don't we talk about Sam's journey with Billy Loomis and the ending and all that.
With Silly Loomis, yeah.
With Silly Loomis?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I've said everything I want to say on that.
Yeah, I've said what I wanted to do. I think sorry.
I like how you both think you've said your piece and then you start talking. Yeah, I've said my piece, but I'll say it again, actually. I mean, I think the visions are pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like how they filmed them too.
No, yeah, for sure. And I like that I love her putting on the
It's so good.
That's an awesome thing. I love how like why would she like fuck with him? Like why would she like scare him? But I love that she does. You know what I mean? It's so much better that she like acts like Ghostface like once she has the costume on.
Yeah. My question is, where do they go from that? Because like I think it's good that they did that in this movie, but now it's leaving me like, how do you one up that?
Because clearly that was a peak. Honestly.
It was a peak moment because like the first one, she only leans into it at the end. Again, right. I think a good moment where she lets loose on Richie.
Yeah.
On Jack Quaid. She lets loose on Jack Quaid, the actor, when he reveals himself as not actually Richie, as Jack Quaid.
Yeah.
So that was good. And then I think they kind of downplay that, like for most of this movie, like she doesn't really have that struggle until she gets really. It's only the scenes that are in the cinema, in the movie
I
theater.
don't think that's true. There's the stuff with the therapist, like right near the beginning.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's confined to like one scene, but I wonder where they go from there, and I guess we kind of keep talking. We might as well talk what we think they're going
That's
to do for the next one. Well, we're kind of already here.
Yeah.
Does she become Ghostface?
There should
Or
be
Yo,
like,
that would be so
do
cool.
do they stay in New York? Like,
I don't think they should.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think they're staying.
it feels like, it feels like something they shouldn't do.
It feels like that's a one off. Like you did it and it was really fun, but I think maybe you go back. You can't really keep going back to like
Yeah,
the OG,
I don't think they should go back.
because you have which they're just always in Woodsboro, but I feel like they're gonna have to go back there.
You know what they
That's
should
what I'm
do?
Scream 7, they go to the Canadian prairies. Like,
If they're following the pattern of paying homage to the previous ones, they'll go to LA again because
Yeah.
they did. Because this one was very similar to 2, so they could try and like make 3 good again. Like try to like retroactively make 3 a good movie despite it being the worst. Which is movies have done. What movie did that?
what if
that I'm thinking of?
what if someone is trying to? What if Sam is like for whatever reason accepted like someone making a true crime docu series about her, and that's like
It's
that's
just-
like kind of the thing or something? Because like Scream,
That could be good.
because Scream 3 is a lot about like the production of one of the stab movies, right?
Oh, I see, and play off it in that way.
Yeah,
like
if you did want to
okay.
kind of pay homage to Scream 3 in that way.
Oh god, there's gonna be podcasters.
Yeah.
Man, I can't wait for the Scream franchise to kill a podcaster. And that's coming from a podcaster. But like, man, the true crime podcasters especially need to get killed in one of these movies. Not like
Some
not
of
in real life.
I think some
just
some
to be
of them are
clear.
like normal, but like
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was thinking this is something that I did hear on Twitter, and I'm repeating an opinion, but I think it's the right time for Stu Macher to come back. So this is Peter. You haven't seen this movie. This is from the first one. The character, you know Matthew Lillard, Peter.
Shaggy.
I actually know what happened the first one.
Okay,
because
but do you know
we did have a
what he looks
callback
like?
in no, I'm not sure. But we
Okay.
did have a callback in this one as well, right? Where the
Yeah.
TV got smashed into the girl's face.
Yeah. So have you seen
Have you-
Scooby Doo?
Have you seen
Oh
Scooby
no,
Doo?
the
this-
guys.
Or
No,
have you
I have
seen
not.
Scooby Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed?
I actually have not.
Oh, okay.
Good movies,
Yeah.
written by James Gunn.
Yeah.
Actually. Anyway, so the guy who played those and that, Matthew Lillard, was Stu Macher in the first movie. He was Billy Loomis's accomplice, and he was killed. Was the
By
TV
TV.
did him in at the end? Like that was the last thing that killed him, I
Yeah.
guess. It sounds like. But people have always been dubious, like if he actually died. Same with Kirby, actually. And I think I really do think that he's coming back for this
They
last
actually
one.
dropped his name here, right?
Twice
It would
because
make
of the
sense.
TV thing and the theory that he was still alive. They mention it. It's
Yeah.
too much of a coincidence.
That's also a way you can play on the Sam conflict because he's like,
exactly.
"I'm your uncle," like
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
probably will say that.
Uncle
He'll be
Stu.
like, he
Yeah.
would be like, "I was your dad's accomplice. You're just like us," or something. And I think that's how you play into that. Like I keep thinking of Empire Strikes Back. I don't know why, but like being tempted by that dark side. I think that's how you get. Because the thing is, like, Sam can't kill anyone because then we'll be like, oh, she is bad,
Yeah.
right? She can only kill the bad guys. But I think she does need to like put on the mask or like something, because like you need to escalate that conflict of, am I my father's daughter? You know.
Yeah.
Anyways, really, we have nothing to say after that.
That's all you
Um,
do. Yeah.
But if you guys, yes, you, not you, Peter, and you, Aiden, you,
What do you mean
the
that?
listener,
Oh,
if you have an idea of what should happen in Scream 7, probably titled Screeve, or how are they going to do that? Is there a
Dude, it's gonna be the
Mm.
M is gonna be split into V and then 2I on the side, and then the two eyes.
And then
are
the
gonna be
eyes will
V.
shift.
Yeah.
It'll look like just like Scree. It'll be Scree VE. Anyways, if you guys have an idea of what should be a Scree V, why don't you leave a comment on Spotify, because they do comments now. I think Apple also did comments forever, and YouTube. Or leave us a comment on Twitter or Instagram. Tell us, and we will read it out, just like I did for one lucky Sunny Law.
Yeah.
Lucky
guy.
anyways, do that. But we have other things to talk about this movie, and we'll try to be
Actually,
brief.
Yeah,
Yes?
we're not wrapping up on Scream just yet, right?
No.
Okay.
I was going to say, why don't we talk about the homage to the sequel, a movie neither of you have seen?
Yeah.
I'll keep it brief because I have no one to bounce off for this. Basically, Scream 2 is also set on a university campus, so I thought it was really clever to be like, yeah, let's play off the sequel again. What else did I have? I need to find where I wrote it down, but I know that the sequel also features a spoiler alert, pew pew, a parent of one of the previous killers.
I know.
So they did that but she's. It was funny watching Scream 2 because I was like, isn't that Sheldon's mom? Wait,
what?
It's the actor from Big Bang Theory. It's Sheldon's mom.
That's so
is playing
funny.
a mom in that movie. And actually, they directly mention that too in this movie.
The Big Bang
Someone
Theory
gets
reference?
killed. No, not Big Bang Theory. Someone gets killed in a van.
They're like,
In
man, the killer from the killer from way back when looks so much like Sheldon's mom.
Sheldon's mom. Yeah, that's in the museum in the movie theater shrine.
Yeah, there's a picture of Sheldon's mom and her.
Sheldon's mom, and they're like yarn connecting them like do 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 do. Big Bang Theory, Scream, so trying to figure it out. No, they say they're hiding out in the police van, and they're like, "Oh, we're safe in the van." And one of the movie kids is like, "Our uncle died in a van." That was from 2.
Yeah.
What else was there? Oh, there's a theater space. So like the movie theater is kind of an homage to the sequel because a lot of it takes place in not a movie theater, but like a theater.
Yeah.
And like for a stage play, that's where the final act of the sequel happens. And lo and behold, that's where this happens. So that was really cool for me and me alone, I guess. Why don't we talk about The Shrine? So this movie is heavily, instead of every Scream movie kind of like tackles like a form of the movie. This makes no sense. So Scream is like the slasher. It's making fun of the slasher. Scream 2 makes fun of slasher sequels. 3 is making fun of trilogies. 4 is making fun of reboots. 5 kind of does the same thing, but like
requel mixture of
it,
legacy and yeah.
They say it's different, but 4 and 5 serve basically the same function, just trying it again. And then now you're at 6, which is like a weird kind of spot to be in. And so instead of being like, oh, it's the 6th one we're making fun of, they go wider and they go franchise and they start talking about Marvel and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I think it was fun to be like poking fun at like Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Like the whole final act is in an Easter egg palace of like a shrine for the franchise.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a really neat thing they did. And the masks thing, that was pretty cool. What did you guys think?
I think also within that the idea of like, oh, we're a franchise now, like I liked during Mindy's little like monologue, I really liked the like allusion to IP is more important than acting now. Like that that was a fun little line to add in there. But the theater is a really nice location.
I just thought it's so cool. In I think it was Into the Spider-Verse and also in Batman, where there's like scenes where it's just like different suits lined up in the back of like the villain or the hero's headquarters, and that's exactly mirroring that, but with Ghostface. I just thought that's such a neat idea.
I will say that has like a limited cool factor because they dress identical. And so there's no variation between the suits, and you're like, yeah, cool, I bet those are from different people. Couldn't tell you whose is whose. But one thing that Mindy does say is that in a franchise, legacy characters are on the hook and anybody can die. And then the movie doesn't kill anybody.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So there are several characters who get stabbed but who end up living. They include Gale, Chad, Mindy, maybe another person. Oh, Kirby
Kirby.
almost dies.
Kirby got shot though.
Kirby gets
guess
shot,
that.
yeah.
There is
But-
also, I mean, there's also the fake out death with the killer. If you want to
I
go
won't count
there, I
that.
guess she winds up dying anyway. But yeah,
Let's just talk about the good guys because
Yeah.
I don't think of the good guys, like the girlfriend dies.
That's-
Not even
Yep.
Pug. They don't even
Annika.
kill Pug from She-Hulk.
yeah. No, I actually I really like the characters, the core four, and I actually kind of
Mhm.
like the idea that they survive, and I'm very much willing to suspend my disbelief that they can. Like really especially like Chad shouldn't have survived the last movie either. Like he gets
Yeah.
he gets massacred in the fifth one as well.
Yeah.
But like no, like I don't mind that. I think that my personal opinion is that Gale should have died. Like if for no other
I agree.
reason than like that moment is, I don't remember what it's called because I haven't read that book, but that's like the darkest moment. That's like the whatever the fuck.
Dark Night of the Soul.
Sure.
What they call it.
Yeah. So it's like that's supposed to be like this big moment where like they experience a huge loss that propels them to take like the biggest action, and it's like not only is
It's the
she
mentor
not,
character too.
yeah,
It's,
not
it's
not
the
only
mentor who dies.
Yeah.
usually.
and not only is she not dead, they also make it clear she's going to live in that scene. Because they're like the paramedic comes in and is like, we have a pulse, and it's like you wouldn't do that if she's dead.
Do you
there.
think there was
A weak
could that have
pulse.
been reshoots or ADR? Because I was actually wondering, like, what if there was like a more downer ending where Gale died and they like chose not to go that route?
Yeah, maybe. And like
Maybe I don't know.
I'm conflicted because like Gale's a great character. I just think
Mhm.
like the way the story's set up, I just think she probably should die. If you're gonna kill anyone, I think that's the person to kill. And
Yeah.
then maybe the boyfriend too, if you want to kill someone else. But I don't know.
Just want to talk about how Chad got stabbed probably 10 times in like an execution manner between two ghost faces, and was like, yeah, actually, he's fine. Actually, Tara is just gonna casually rip away his oxygen mask, so they can talk. It's like, like that didn't make any sense to me. I thought Chad's dead.
Oh, yeah.
That was like a death that should have happened, in my opinion. And then for Gale got stabbed pretty bad. Like I think Gale was trying to go for the killing blow. She was trying to grab the knife, and then
Yeah.
the ghost was duped her because he had a second knife, right?
Yeah.
Like-
No, he grabbed the glass. Stabbed her with
Oh, you
glass.
grabbed the glass? Okay. Yeah, like I mean, she survived worse, sort of. I don't know, like how what happened to her in the previous Scream movies, but like that was fine for me. The Gale surviving was okay.
I'm less
but-
concerned about the actual like injury and just like
the
story
character.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. But I thought just like Chad. I thought Chad's goner for sure.
I will say
Okay.
that I think what Aiden was saying, like the core four surviving, that kind of is like a staple of the franchise where you up until 5, like Dewey, Sydney, and Gale, they're never going to die. Like those are your main characters, and I think they're taking on kind of like a Star Wars thing where in their own franchise, your main characters cannot and will not die. When they become secondary characters for a new core four,
Mm-hmm.
that's when they're susceptible. So I think leave Chad, leave Mindy, leave Tara. Those are your supporting characters that we have to see through to the end. But like, what are we doing with Gale? Why are we stringing her along?
Yeah.
Do a Star Wars, kill her off in this one, bring back Sydney for the last one, kill Sydney there, because you can't just keep hanging on to those core characters. You killed Dewey in the last one, which is a really bold thing to do,
Mhm.
and that I found like really interesting. And it was sad that they didn't do that in this one, because I think it was kind of like it was a good send off, and if they had maybe like one more scene with Gale to really drive home the impact, like a scene between where Gale and Sam are like getting along because they're bickering most of the time.
Yeah,
So if you have like one scene to like make them friends before she dies, I think that would have been a really nice
they have that a little
thing.
bit with the
But I
thing
thought-
where when Gail's like, when Tara's like, "Sorry, I punched you," and then Gail's like, "You're not actually sorry," and then she's like, "Yeah, I'm not." It's like, they do have a little bit of a moment, but
But I thought like Gail's storyline in this one is actually so interesting though, because like she was all like, "I'm not gonna write about what happened in Scream 5. I'm gonna write about Dewey." But then she ended up writing about Scream 5, and then Sam sort of had a comment when she was really pissed, like, "Yeah, you're just like you know without the whole Ghostface situation, you would just fade away." Like I feel like that's just such a smart commentary on like Gail's position as a journalist, trying to stay relevant, but like also holding onto that one niche that got you popular in the first place
It's
and sort
yeah.
of squeezing that.
Hmm.
I thought like that from that sense, like I can see why her dying makes sense. It's sort of like, you know, you sort of capitalize off the thing that eventually killed you, and I thought like that would be like a nice full circle moment. But you know,
Yeah, if
So-
if they did that, I think there could have been an interesting thing there. I will say that for someone who's seen the entire franchise, when you've seen that character arc for Gale
Yeah.
5 times, it loses its luster because
Yeah.
like literally since Scream 2, people have been mad at Gale for writing about the previous movie's events because she does this every single time and people are surprised that she does it. There's with like slight variations, but I do think that if they had actually like decided to kill her, I do think that would have been they could have had some variation.
But I thought like it
It's a
makes
stale
sense
character.
for her to come back though. It's like I'm very happy Sydney is not in this movie because there's no reason she should be there. Like she's
Yeah.
like, I'm away, I'm with
Yeah.
my family, I want to keep them safe, all good. And then this one, Gail showed up only because they were in New York, where she works from. You know,
Yeah.
she's literally working in New York, so it makes sense for her to appear there. So like, if they go to Sydney City for the next one, then it makes sense for
Mm.
Sydney to appear. But then I hope they don't, because I feel like, you know, like we don't really need these veterans anymore because our new characters are becoming veterans themselves. You know, to deal
Sure,
with
yeah.
the Ghostface situation.
yeah,
I would even say like in 5, Sydney is not doing a lot. Like that was more Dewey's movie and Dewey and fucking with Gale. Like
Yeah.
it was more about them. And from what I recall, like Sydney was just kind of like, oh no, it's happening again. But like it's not happening to her.
yeah,
So honestly, what would have been cool is if they had kind of done a Star Wars and left her out of 5 and 6 and bring her back for 7. That would have been a really cool thing to like be like, oh, we're gonna go see the OG. But she's been in hiding for like 10 years.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh, and
well,
then they do
something
like
like
the
that.
Laurie Strode thing with her, where she's like, she's the new, you know what I mean? Like how in the new Halloween movie is Laurie.
It is Halloween, okay?
Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
I had to remember what her name is, but yeah, I'm not as well versed in that franchise. Anyways, speaking of franchises, Scream ranking for those who have seen all the movies. Just me.
Just
You guys can give your opinion, but
I
like
can rank the 3 that I've seen.
the 3 that you've seen or the 2 that you've seen, depending on who you are.
I-
Scream 1.
Scream 1's the best one.
Yeah.
I guess it's
Where
not
do
that hard. Yeah, Scream 1, 6, 5. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I really like 5.
Peter, do you agree with 6-5?
Yeah.
6 before 5?
Yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Okay. Great. So I have Scream 1. I do think Scream 6 is the best. After that, I feel like maybe I should give 2 a second chance because I think there's something about Wes Craven's direction that's really quite strong.
Yeah.
And the writing of the original, the guy who wrote the original Scream franchise is also very good at his job. So I do think 2 is pretty good. So I have 1, 6, 2. Then I put 5 because I think 5 was a fun reinvention. And then I have 4 and then 3. I think 3 is pretty bad. Anyways, Aiden, we have a segment.
Sure do. So, podcast called Predator versus Movies. We've done the movie part.
It is.
Like, let's not beat around the
did.
bush. Let's get into the Predator. Okay, so we asked the question, would the Predator from the movie Predator improve this movie if he were in it? No.
No.
Although it could be
Good
like a
as
Halloween
is.
costume.
Oh, he's back again with the correct points. That's it.
Yep.
I don't think there's a more correct answer than that.
Yeah.
Moving on, Peter. What is our next segment?
It's called Predator's Picks. Like,
Why do you say it like you're confused every single time? You're like as if you're reading it off, and you're like, I don't know what this is, but I'll read it.
dude, I'm trying to put
Predator's
a new
Picks?
flavor into it, you know?
It's the
Inject
same
some
flavor.
personality.
Okay.
It's Predator's Picks. What have you guys seen this week? What do you guys do you guys recommend them, or do you guys anti-rec them?
Yeah.
Anti-rec, like
Okay.
Anti-Man, Ant-Man.
Nice.
Quantumania. Yeah. Aiden is typing in the chat. Oh, Aiden is in heaven. Aiden. Oh no, Aiden, there's Ghostface behind you. Oh no, Aiden's dead and he's entering heaven. That's where Scream 7 takes place, the
Heaven.
kingdom of heaven.
Dude, if
It's the seventh seal, the seventh Scream movie. They bring back Max von Sydow from the Seventh Seal movie.
resurrect Ingmar Bergman.
Ingmar Bergman directing. He
Yeah.
returns from the grave.
Yeah.
Oh God. Peter, what have you seen?
I've
That was a
only
really
seen-
weird tonal shift.
I've only
Peter,
seen one movie. It's Scream 5. And
what'd you think?
it
You kind
just
of-
dwarfs in the face of 6.
Sure.
But okay, I have a fun anecdote about it though. So in both 5 and 6, I'm not sure about the previous ones. They use this song that happens to be the intro song for a show called Peaky Blinders, and I just like crack up every time I hear that song because it reminds me of Peaky Blinders. It's like dun, 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 dun. It's like in 5 it was the
Sing
one
more.
where the guy was pissing outside the bar and he got killed. That's when that song played. And then in 6 is where in the college scene, and then at the very end when they're walking away, that song plays.
Can you sing some more? Maybe I'll recognize it.
It's
You sing
hold
it.
up.
You have to
Hold
sing
up,
it.
hold up, hold up,
You can't
hold up.
play it. You have to sing
Hold
it,
up, hold
Peter.
up, hold up. Let me find it first. Let me find the lyric.
Okay.
Peaky Blinders theme.
Okay, while you're doing that, Aiden, why don't you tell us what you've seen?
Yeah, I haven't really seen that much. I think I've literally seen All Quiet on the Western Front. I think that's the only thing I've seen over the past week. I talked about it a little bit. Not a huge fan of it. It was okay. Very standard war movie. I like the 1931 a lot more. I think it's pretty crazy to wait to remake something that's like over almost 100 years old and not do it as well. So yeah.
That's facts.
Okay,
Did you have it?
I found the song. So it's
Okay.
called Red Right Hand. So basically, like in Peaky Blinders, it's
Just sing it.
describing Thomas Shelby. In this one, I guess it's describing Ghostface. But it's like it has this very very iconic bit, instrumental bit. It's like dun 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 dun, and then it like this
More.
really really rough, coarse voice, just like, on a gathering storm comes a tall, handsome man in a dusty black coat with a red right hand. Oh my god. I think this song's great,
Yeah,
but
okay.
it's like it's unexpected in a Scream movie because I'm like my brain just permanently associates that song with Peaky Blinders, and it's like, yo, are we about to see some gangster shit happening?
I don't know what you're talking about at all. Like from either movie,
No.
I literally
Have you seen Peaky Blinders?
no.
No.
Okay.
It's
That's
a British
why.
show, so
That's
it's
why.
up Peter's alley, which did you know there's no alleys in New York except
Yeah.
3? Wow.
Wow.
Tying
Hey,
it all
hey,
together, folks.
Well,
it's a franchise.
actually, Alex, I have a trivia question for you. How do you pronounce the actor that played Thomas Shelby? His name.
Who's Thomas Shelby?
It's the
Um,
guy Scarecrow in Dark Knight.
yeah,
Cillian Murphy.
let's go. He got it right.
Because I remembered. Not,
I remember the time when you were saying Cillian, and you know,
yeah, because I was a Cillian
He's
boy.
Cillian Murphy. He's from
I was a
Sicily.
Cillian goose. I was a Cillian goose. Anyway,
I'm just spiraling off. We're just saying
Um,
words at this point.
today's a good day. I'm feeling great, but I think the podcast is suffering. I've seen some things. I watched The Last of Us. I've been catching up a bit, so I watched 2 or 3 episodes. I don't remember.
Yep.
It's yeah.
Oh shit! Wait, I totally forgot. Last of Us happened
I haven't
because it's been a while.
Okay.
Have you guys all seen the finale?
No. Just said
Never
no.
mind. Okay.
But did you like it?
The
Was
finale?
it everything you wished it to be?
Like I thought it really fits the character. Well, Aiden, you play the game. You know what?
I know what happened.
You watched the game.
I did watch the game. I did not play it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Like
right.
And you're watching it again.
I think like obviously like
You should play the TV series.
like to us as an audience,
Good one.
like obviously we want the outcome to be different, but then like to Joel as a character, I think it makes sense for him to make that choice.
Don't
That's what
spoil
I'm
it.
gonna say. Yeah.
Okay. I got to the point where they go to the labs. There's like monkeys or something.
Monkey.
And they're gonna do the episode that is apparently based on a DLC. I just read like an opinion article. Where someone was like why the show suffers a bit, and I do agree that it does feel a little bit like a cutscene montage, where like I'm not seeing a lot of zombies or like I don't know. I know that like not it's a zombie show, but it doesn't need to have a whole lot of zombies. But
Alex,
I
all
feel
I'm
like
gonna
something's
say
missing.
All I'm
There could
gonna
be
say
more
is just
zombie
wait for the
There'll be,
penultimate.
just wait. There's gonna be plenty of zombies. Yeah,
Dude,
no,
just
I bet
wait
there
for the
are.
penultimate episode.
I
That
bet-
episode was so
Okay.
fucking good. Like, oh my
Okay.
god.
I'm just saying that like
It's-
structurally, I feel like I'm missing something. Anyways,
Sure. Yeah.
I did think when they were in Kansas City and like the ground opens up and like
Mm-hmm.
a huge swarm, like that was pretty cool. That was a pretty cool
That's
moment.
sick. Yeah.
And there was that feral child. Love feral children.
Yeah.
I watched this documentary against my will called End Zone, and I just want to talk about it a bit.
I guess I did too because I was in the same
Yeah.
class that we watched this in.
We were
but
sitting next to each other.
I was literally
Yeah.
zoned out the entire time, so I don't even know which of the documentaries we watched is that one.
He was end zoned out.
Yeah.
He also missed the beginning.
Oh,
So
yeah.
End Zone was like a documentary from 1970, I think. I think it's Canadian as well. I don't know if it's from our city, but it's clearly a movie you're supposed to watch while stoned out of your fucking mind. Because Peter, because he found it on Letterboxd. You're a genius. Wow. I also reviewed it, so you could do it that way. But like,
Dude,
I-
on your
I
review, it
fucking
said
hated it.
probably a lot of fun if you're high as fuck, and you gave it
That's what I said.
2.5 stars.
it's also what I said like 2 seconds ago. But anyways, it's really fucking weird. It's experimental and using found footage, and I was just like, this is really weird. So go watch End Zone if you want to get high and watch something. And then I watched yesterday. I watched Women Talking just to see if I had any Oscar thoughts on it. I don't really have Oscar thoughts. I think like adapted screenplay. Sure, why not? I do think that the trailers do a poor job of marketing this movie because it makes you like it made me actively not want to watch it, and I was kind of dreading watching Women Talking. But when I was watching it, I was actually like, this isn't that bad, and I could feel like hesitance watching it at the beginning, being like, I don't want to watch this, and then being worn down over time, being like, oh, I actually do kind of like care about these characters.
I didn't have that reaction to the trailer. I was like, I thought the trailer was like, yeah, sure.
Like it wasn't enticing, and I mean, part of it is it's like a drama, and I think a lot of it has to do with the color palette, which is something I was complaining about. Like it looks super desaturated. When you're watching it, you don't really feel that. It feels more like normal. But yeah, I think it was like pretty good. I think it tackles some like important themes and stuff. And apparently it was written by someone who's from Manitoba, so that was interesting to learn, I guess.
The book is.
I don't know. It was like a pretty good movie, and like the acting's pretty great. It's like an ensemble with a lot of great actors. So yeah, it was pretty good. But that's it for me, I think. So next week we're probably gonna watch John Wick 4.
Oh yeah.
And that'll be our movie. So check us out at God, I'm so bad at this. Check us out at Predator V Movies on Twitter or Instagram, and remember to tell us what you think Scream 7 should do or should have. And if you like my thoughts on movies, check me out on at _Alex_Gordon_ on Letterboxd.
And if you also like my thoughts on movies, you can check me out on Letterboxd. I'm 810 Sunny. That's 810 SONNY. My name is Wombo.
It's Wombo. And yeah, you can also on those places, not the Letterboxd, you can leave a review. Leave a review. Give us 5 stars.
Give us 5 stars. Peter didn't plug anything, which means you have to give 5 stars. Going on from that was the joke.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that
deal.
down. So
That's the deal. Peter didn't plug anything, which means you guys listening right now have to give 5 stars.
That's absolutely true. Thank you, Aiden. Until next time, I'm Alex.
I'm Peter.
I'm Aiden.
And this was Predator versus Movies. Woo!